This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Nice intro, good and strong. Welcome to DBL. It's Wednesday, April 28th. I'm Tori here with Ladies' Day. It is Lindsay and Erica.
What's going on?
Good to see you. How you feeling?
I'm getting it together this morning.
You got
Slowly.
We're gonna fix her mic.
You got a little wiring happening right now.
We'll get it together. We will.
Cut to beautiful Erica and
Cut to
Tori.
beautiful Erica.
Come back to me.
Well, we want to get started with this. We want to ask you a question. If you have a huge platform and millions of fans, what kind of responsibility do you have to give people reliable and factual information about the pandemic? That's the question we're asking after Joe Rogan gave his millions of listeners some very controversial and, frankly, I'm going to say it here, incorrect advice on his Spotify podcast. Let's take a look and talk about it after.
And people say, do you think it's safe to get vaccinated? I've said, yeah, I think for the most part it's safe to get vaccinated. I do. But if you're like 21 years old and you say to me, should I get vaccinated? I go, no. Are you healthy? Are you a healthy person? Like, look, don't do anything stupid, but you should take care of yourself. You should, if you're a healthy person and you're exercising all the time and you're young and you're eating well, and like, I don't think you need to worry about this.
So what does science have to say about this? Young, healthy people getting vaccinated? Well, here's how Dr. Fauci actually responded to Rogan's comments on the Today Show. Take a look at this.
Well, that's incorrect, Savannah. And the reason why is that you're talking about yourself in a vacuum then. But you can get infected and will get infected if you put yourself at risk. It is likely that you, even if you have no symptoms, that you may inadvertently and innocently then infect someone else. So if you want to only worry about yourself and not society, then that's okay. But if you're saying to yourself, even if I get infected, I could do damage to somebody else, even if I have no symptoms at all. And that's the reason why you've got to be careful and get vaccinated.
So that is the correct advice from Dr. Fauci. I got to ask you guys, you have a platform. What is the responsibility level of telling the accurate truth? Is Joe Rogan responsible here for spreading misinformation? Erica?
You know,
he's an interesting character.
I am not a medical professional any more than Joe Rogan is a medical professional. What I do with my platform is lead by intentions. I'm always trying to give the most correct, as I understand it, from the professionals, information to the people who choose to follow me. That being said, I think we are focusing way too much on Joe Rogan. I think that for as millions of followers as he has and listeners, there are going to be people who think for themselves. And we can say Joe Rogan's wrong, and I think Joe Rogan, that was irresponsible to say. I will say that, absolutely. But the truth is, there are going to be people who are going to get vaccinated because he said that, just as much as there's going to be people who aren't going to get vaccinated because he said that. And at the end of the day, everyone has already made up their minds. So if your mind is made up and you are waiting on Joe Rogan to figure out which way you should go, then the problem's a little bigger than what we're talking about right now.
That's a fair point, and I think very well said, but there are some 21-year-olds that adhere to everything that man says. I mean, they really believe he is the gospel. What do you think?
I like Joe Rogan a lot. I think he's a brilliant conversationalist, and I think when you have a platform, you have a space to give somebody else room who actually might know the research and the facts, like he does sometimes, the space to say what they need to say so the public is well informed. He had a lot of good points on coronavirus, but for right now, you know, he's telling people not to get vaccinated, and that's his opinion, and I think a lot of people listen to him. But like Erica was saying, it's up to individuals to decide who they disseminate and gather information from. Like, he's not a source on this topic. He's a source for great interviewing skills. He's a source for great conversation, but I wouldn't say you should listen to him on medical facts and advice. So I think it's really up to us with all these platforms and all this information available to decide that Joe Rogan is not the person to give us medical advice.
That's fair. Just remember, in India, they are now burning people in the streets. I don't mean to be crass, but I want you to all take this very, very seriously and listen to the science, in my opinion. This next story has been out for a week now, but people are really starting to ask, why is it taking so long for authorities to release the body cam footage showing Andrew Brown Jr.'s death? The FBI has opened a civil rights probe, and a judge in North Carolina scheduled a hearing for today to consider releasing the footage. But there's this. New footage showing North Carolina sheriff's deputies turning down the streets. Down the street, Anthony Brown Jr.'s streets. They're piled into the back of a truck. They pull up to his house. Police say they were there to serve a warrant for drug charges. Moments later, Brown was shot and killed. His family now has seen a redacted portion of the body cam footage, only 20 seconds worth. But here's how his brother described it to NBC News.
And what did you see?
Execution.
Execution?
Yes.
Describe it.
It's horrific. You know, you see a person trying to get away and the cops shooting at them. You know, that's not right.
Why do you think it's taking so long to release the footage, and how important is it for the public to see what really happened? I think we just had an example, right, with Darnella Frazier when she filmed the George Floyd, of how crucial that footage is. What do you think? Why haven't we seen it?
I think it's interesting because law enforcement is always telling us, wait until you have the full picture. And in this case, they're actually withholding the full picture from people on the brink of Derek Chauvin spending a lot of time likely in jail for video that we saw with a knee on his neck killing a black man. And this is like the topic of conversation right now in America, and we have to handle it differently than we've been handling because there's problems actually embedded in the system, which is why we need video cameras on police officers in the first place. So to say you're not going to release it is very problematic, and the time that it's taking is only causing more strife for the public, as you can see, and I think it's going to be just cause a bigger issue for this police department and others.
Yeah, I agree. It's like causing more panic as we go. They actually have a state of emergency already preemptively in Elizabethtown. What do you think, Erica?
I'm sick of seeing black people executed.
Yeah, I know.
You know, he was shot, what, 5 times, once to the back of the head. I don't know what to say anymore. Like, I really don't. And I mean, when you're talking about with George Floyd, and then we had Ma'Khia Bryant, and now we're looking at this. And then we have these conversations about police reform, and people want to be very much, it's one side or the other. I just think about some of the templates that we're seeing popping up in cities as our own, of how these situations can be handled. And, you know, just by reallocating funds, or also by not allowing police to be the executioner, judge, and jury. It's very problematic, and I think that Chris Cuomo was right. Until we start seeing people who aren't black and brown being executed in this way, then we're going to continue to see this problem.
I completely agree with both of you. I also want to say, for body cams, if we're not going to be able to see the footage, why are they there? Right? I understand you got to take the time, but if someone shuts off a body cam, I want police to be charged with obstruction of justice immediately. I think that body cam is a part of the civil rights movement, and I would demand to see it. You know.
And I think Erica's saying, when are we going to do something about it?
Yeah, what's the action?
There's been executive orders for lesser things from President Biden already. And so I think when we were counting on President Biden to be the change that we didn't see maybe a couple of years ago, we really want to know, when is something actually going to get done, and when are police actually going to be held accountable so we can actually stop seeing black people get killed.
Amen. Well said. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
This is As most of the country eyes a return to normalcy after the COVID-19 pandemic, one change will be sticking around: virtual learning, at least for some students. Let's connect the dots. When coronavirus hit, the U.S. launched an unprecedented effort to teach all students remotely. The experiment was a struggle for many families and their students, but some kids did actually thrive. Teachers report the kids who did well tended to be the ones with social anxiety, attention deficit disorder, or autism. Now school districts across the country are establishing online-only schools for the next academic year. For most districts, this means standalone virtual schools with teachers dedicated to working only with remote students. But not all virtual schools are the same. Some require students to work online courses independently, with only occasional online interaction with a teacher. That model obviously benefits children who are comfortable setting their own pace. It also tends to work best if parents are actively involved in the process. Other models are more teacher-directed, where students attend traditional classes just in a virtual setting. There is one big downside to continued virtual learning: less social interaction. While some online programs do include extracurricular activities, experts say it is hard to replicate the seeing your friends face-to-face. Connecting the dots, I'm Cheryl Mercedes, KHOU 11 News.
viral videos to share, and it seems like it might be a trend. All right, massive brawls that have broken out in public. Quick warning to our viewers, some of these videos you're about to see are graphic. So up first, check out this massive brawl at the Miami International Airport. The passengers were waiting on their flight to Chicago when this fight broke out. It reportedly started after they were told there were only 3 standby seats available, and their party was for 4. One person was charged with disorderly conduct. There was also this fight that broke out at a seafood restaurant in Mississippi. It started out small before it turned more violent, with silverware, napkin dispensers, and even chairs being thrown. It is not entirely clear what started the fight, but we're not trying to exploit this. We're actually trying to get to this point. Why do you think we're seeing more and more of these massive brawl videos? And do you think it's because of the pandemic and people just not knowing how to act in public anymore? Thoughts?
I'm not about to give adults a pass on not knowing how to act in public because of a year in the house. Okay, I'm sorry.
I was like,
anybody over 18 that is stupid, anybody under 18 that's stupid. I'm looking at that and like, how embarrassed should everybody that ever met you in their life be? That you are an adult fighting in the airport and also in a restaurant throwing chairs like an animal.
That's how she's going to talk to her child.
I'm embarrassed for these people over standby. Like, if you needed to get somewhere that seriously, then you shouldn't have been on standby.
But you're trying to apply a lot of sense to a whole lot of nonsense, okay? That's the truth, because the truth is this is the perfect formula. We're going to see this more so post-pandemic than we did pre-pandemic.
And why is that?
Because the number one recipe to getting into a brawl is having nothing to lose.
People should. There's no jobs.
Outside, right, exactly. They have nothing to lose. You've become outside of your mind. You lacked social skills before the lockdown. So the idea that this would happen, do you know I've had to de-escalate 2 fights in 2 weeks?
No.
2 fights in 2 weeks. One, I parked my car on the street. This woman was sitting outside of her home waiting for someone to park in that spot.
Wow.
When I parked in that spot, she approached the sidewalk and started cursing me out, like when I got out of the car. And I was standing there like, and I kept looking behind me like, who is she talking to? And she's like, you cannot park in this spot. This spot is in front of my house. Wow. Like, she was just waiting. So I was like, I'm sorry, ma'am. Have you been waiting for somebody to park in this spot so that you could yell at them?
And she's
like, well, it's my house. Wow. It's my house. I was like, yeah, but this is street parking and this is a rental, so you don't own this street, right?
Wow.
And she's like, she went on and on. I finally said, ma'am, I just want to wish you a very blessed day, because clearly you are dealing with some things, and I am going to pray for you. Out of courtesy to your home. I am going to park elsewhere.
Good for you, Erica.
Be blessed.
I was about to say, I hope you just parked elsewhere. It's not even worth it.
I had to say something. That was my de-escalation.
Everyone take a breath and relax. We'll be right back. Breathe, people. How's she doing?
Better now.
There are many situations where fully vaccinated people do not need to wear a mask.
A big announcement from Rochelle Walensky, the director of the CDC, about what people can now do outside without these masks. So let's verify what you can and can't do once you're fully vaccinated, which is 2 weeks after your final shot. Let's start with outdoor exercise. Whether you're vaccinated or not, the CDC says it's okay to run, walk, or bike without a mask. But if you're still awaiting that shot, you're going to want to keep your distance. Okay, what about small outdoor gatherings like barbecues? Well, according to the CDC, if you're fully vaccinated, you won't need a mask, whether people there are vaccinated or not. Meanwhile, unvaccinated people will need to mask up when around other unvaccinated people outside of their circle. Now let's move on to my favorite thing: food and outdoor dining. The CDC says those who are vaccinated are now safe to take off that mask when eating at an outdoor restaurant. As for unvaccinated people, the CDC is still not recommending that they eat outdoors at restaurants, although they say to wear a mask if they do. And what about the larger outdoor events like sports games or concerts? Under their new guidance, the CDC says that these events are safe for vaccinated people, although they'll still need to wear a mask. These outdoor events are not deemed safe for those who are still awaiting a shot. As for indoor events, the guidance remains the same: wear these masks even if you're vaccinated.
Welcome back to DBL. In the 80s, Anna Young ran the House of Prayer. Few people knew what was actually happening behind closed doors. Decades later, we're learning the grim reality of the truth. Here's the story in True Crime Chronicles. A warning to our viewers, some of this content may be disturbing.
Anna Young had a hard life growing up. She used her faith as motivation to keep going. In 1983, she started the House of Prayer near Gainesville, Florida.
The House of Prayer started out as supposed to be a safe haven.
It was a place for kids and women to go who needed a place to get back on their feet. Mother Anna recruited more than 20 members over a decade.
As people started idolizing or other broken people, people began to look at you as the voice of God.
Joy remembers her mother torturing members for their sins.
They're willing to lay down and take beatings and whippings and starvations and be in boxes and eat cow manure and everything because they love God so much. They just want to be pure and holy.
Court documents revealed 2-year-old Katonia Jackson was forced to run in circles and was beaten if she stopped. She ended up dying from a seizure. Shortly after, her 8-year-old brother, John Neal, ended up in the hospital for a severe skin infection, and doctors noticed similarities between him and his sister. It finally prompted an investigation into the House of Prayer.
When they would go in, they would see a very clean property, a very clean house, very orderly, very organized.
Anna was smart. She left no evidence behind.
Miss Anna had trapdoors, secret rooms, so she was able to hide children and to mask the goings-on there.
In 1986, another child arrived named Eamon Harper.
His lips were so crusted over that part of his lip, like the crust, touched my finger. Like, I've given it water, and sometimes, thinking about it, I still feel it. I feel it.
Eamon was later found dead in a closet. It wasn't until 1992 Anna was caught when a 12-year-old member was found in a tub with chemicals and severe burns. Anna was charged with child abuse and fled. After being on the run for years, she was caught in 2001. Anna served some prison time, but was released and free again. Joy held onto those gut-wrenching memories for decades. But the day her mother criticized her for parenting,
I blurted out, "How can you tell me how to raise my kids when you killed 2 children?"
In 2017, Joy went to police and told them everything. There was enough evidence to charge Anna for the murders of Eamon Harper and Katonia Jackson.
If it wouldn't have been for Joy calling and having these memories and telling us about it, this would have gone unnoticed, unpunished.
Anna was sentenced to 30 years for the 2 murders, but 42 days later, she died in prison. A twist in the case, but finally some closure for Joy and the victims.
What I'm not going to do, though, is lie about, the lives that were lost during the process of, all of this journey, because I feel like if I live with those, then I'm just as guilty.
Earlier, Brandon and I spoke with a reporter who is close to this case. Take a look. We are joined by First Coast News reporter Jocelyn Howard. Jocelyn, thank you so much for being here. Anna Young was an ex-cult leader who tortured and starved her members. Her daughter Joy witnessed it for years and finally turned her in. I just want to know, how did she work up the courage to finally do that?
Joy was very young, and she grew up just like a lot of these members, idolizing her mom, thinking that her mom was the voice of God. And she even went as far to say that she one day wanted to be like her mom, that matriarch of the House of Prayer. Then she got out into the real world and realized that what she saw was wrong. She saw the terrible things that her mother did, but on the other hand, she loves her mom. She made that very clear in our interview. She does love her mom. Wow. And she was going through that issue in her heart and her body of do I turn my mom in? This is what really stuck to me in our interview. Her exact words were, how can you tell me how to raise my kids when you killed 2 children? Ooh. And that sent chills through my body. And she said, from there, I just needed to call law enforcement.
You just mentioned how you did speak with Joy, and did she ever tell you why she thinks her mother did all this?
Starting the House of Prayer and moving down to Florida was her mother's way of kind of dealing with her sins and trying to redeem herself. And so I don't think really cults always start out as, I'm going to start a cult. Right. It started out with great intentions. The House of Prayer started out as a safe haven for people, especially people who couldn't afford where they lived, couldn't afford food, couldn't afford childcare, and they brought these people onto the property. And it was a really great thing. I mean, they were feeding these people, and at the same time, though, Anna was feeding them the gospel as well. And these people started looking at her as, wow, what a holy woman.
The story spans decades. It's a really long case. Do you think just in your heart more victims will come forward?
You never know. You never know. And I mean, I actually have had some people reach out to me about this after my story came out that weren't necessarily a part of the House of Prayer, but they knew Anna before the House of Prayer. And they were telling me how she was before the House of Prayer. And so, I mean, this wasn't just the House of Prayer, this was Anna Young. Maybe some people will come forward, but I think law enforcement has a pretty good grasp right now on who all was there.
I'm fascinated to learn more about this case. If you are too, visit firstcoastnews.com. The story is also the subject of a new podcast episode. Just search True Crime Chronicles on your favorite podcast player. Jocelyn, great job on this story. What a hard story to follow. Thank you for all your work. Anna Young's official cause of death has just been released. Now, she did die from COVID-19 complications. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
For all the parents out there, my advice is this: listen more than you speak. Listen to your kids. Don't be reactive, don't judge, and just love them.
The Supreme Court gearing up for a free speech showdown today. Let's connect the dots. The courts will have to decide how much power public schools have and whether or not they can punish students for a social media post. One argument is that students shouldn't get in trouble for things they post on personal pages during non-school hours. But here's the problem. Some say that would open the door for students to post vulgar, cruel, or even racist things without getting in trouble. We're in new territory here. For decades, Supreme Court cases have supported students' free speech rights, but those decisions were before Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. The outcome of the case could also impact how schools crack down on cyberbullying. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for a security alert sponsored by LifeLock. Scammers are using COVID-19 to steal your data. Here are 3 scams to be aware of. First up, watch out for fake post-vaccine surveys promising you cash and prizes. Second, unemployment insurance. Anyone who has applied for this can be targeted with phony forms asking for personal information. Lastly, the vaccine selfie. Again, don't post your card on social media unless the birth date and the full name are covered. When it comes to your financial assets, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. Call 1-800-439-9017 or visit lifelock.com to learn more. Good advice, spread out. Have a good day, everyone. DBL's new every day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye, guys. Talking about today on Daily Blast Live. Joe Rogan is under fire for his controversial comments about the COVID vaccine.
If you're like 21 years old and you say to me, should I get vaccinated? I go, no.
How Dr. Fauci is fighting back against misinformation. New video shows deputies arriving at Andrew Brown Jr.'s home before the deadly shooting. But why is it taking so long for authorities to release footage of the entire incident? In today's True Crime Chronicles, a house of prayer that turned out to be a house of horror.
Because they love God so much. They just want to be pure and holy.
And crazy videos from a massive car explosion to airport and restaurant brawls.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, April 28th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Erica. Let's get right to it. If you have a huge platform and millions of fans, what kind of responsibility do you have to give people reliable and factual information about the pandemic? That's the question we are asking after Joe Rogan gave his millions of listeners some controversial and frankly incorrect advice on his Spotify podcast. Take a listen.
and people say, do you think it's safe to get vaccinated? I've said, yeah, I think for the most part it's safe to get vaccinated. I do. But if you're like 21 years old and you say to me, should I get vaccinated? I go, no. Yeah. Are you healthy? Are you a healthy person? Like, look, don't do anything stupid, but you should take care of yourself. You should, if you're a healthy person and you're exercising all the time and you're young and you're eating well, and like, I don't think you need to worry about this.
So what does science have to say about young, healthy people getting vaccinated? Here's how Dr. Fauci responded to Rogan's comments on the Today Show.
Well, that's incorrect, Savannah. And the reason why is that you're talking about yourself in a vacuum then. But you can get infected and will get infected if you put yourself at risk. It is likely that you, even if you have no symptoms, that you may inadvertently and innocently then infect someone else. So if you want to only worry about yourself and not society, then that's okay. But if you're saying to yourself, even if I get infected, I could do damage to somebody else, even if I have no symptoms at all. And that's the reason why you've got to be careful and get vaccinated.
Now, we are already getting a lot of comments from our DBL Nation. Jeff, what did you make about Joe Rogan's comments?
I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan, and I think it's unfair to take that one little soundbite out of context, right? And I understand how you feel, Sam, but he does a 3-hour show on purpose. I think he does do his due diligence. He says, I am not a doctor. Please don't listen to my opinions. I think he's advocating for people to take care of themselves during a pandemic. He always talks about vitamin D, talking about taking care of yourself. It will help if you get COVID, right? So in this particular context, his word is not gospel. He says it's not. I think as an adult, you need to listen to whether it be a podcast, whether it be a TV show, CNN, Fox News, and come up with your own opinions. You can't take what someone says, whether it be celebrity, athlete, whoever it may be, Joe Rogan, and take their word as gospel and move forward with that.
I agree with you and I disagree with you. So I agree with you that people should not take his word for gospel. But unfortunately, if you go on Twitter right now, or if you go on our comment section, you see that people are using Joe Rogan's words to validate their ideologies. And that's a problem.
That's silly.
Well, that's a problem. And because that is a fact, that's the way people react in this day and age to what a celebrity says. Unfortunately, it does boil down to the cost of lives. It does. And I take offense to it. But I also love Joe Rogan. I've been to his stand-up shows. I've paid money to go to his stand-up shows. I listen to his podcast.
He's also a comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I know. But his words also matter. Millions of people follow him. And I don't want him to erase and minimize the suffering of so many young people who did not have underlying health conditions, who did not have pre-existing conditions, who were healthy, who did take their health and treated it to the upper echelon that he's not giving credit to, because otherwise he's minimizing and he's erasing the suffering. I know a lot of those families because there's a support group that my family has been a part of to people that have been affected by COVID. You all know that my brother-in-law has been affected by COVID since early January, on a ventilator, on ECMO, which is life support, in a coma, finally got a double lung transplant, and he's still not out of the woods. He's going to be in the hospital for another 3 to 6 months. That's excruciating. 9 months of his life gone, not to mention how it's going to affect the rest of his life. So I need to correct Joe Rogan here, because even though I love you, Joe Rogan, even though that you and I can have difference in opinion, here, I don't want to cancel Joe Rogan. I think that's wrong. I want Joe Rogan to educate himself. Look at the suffering that so many families have had to endure with young, literally, some of them are 4 years old that have been on a ventilator, that had no pre-existing conditions. Some of them teenagers, some of them young 20-somethings. Healthy. My brother-in-law snowboards, surfs, skateboards, healthy as can be. So I just want Joe Rogan to educate himself, retract that statement, and be empathetic. And please, for the love of God, have the conversation, the right conversation with your listeners, so they don't use your words to somehow validate their incorrect ideology. That's where I'm coming from.
That's the truth. I told you, my dad's a funeral director. 3 years old is the youngest that he's had with COVID complications.
Right, and even if they don't die, they're on a ventilator, or they're on life support, or they're long haulers. So let's just remember that. Okay, so this next story has been out for a week now, but people are really starting to ask, why is it taking so long for authorities to release the body cam footage showing Andrew Brown Jr.'s death? The FBI has opened a civil rights probe, and a judge in North Carolina today refused to release the footage. New footage shows North Carolina sheriff's deputies turning down the street. They're piled into the back of a truck. They pull up to his house. Police say they were there to serve a warrant for drug charges. Moments later, Brown was shot and killed. His family has seen a redacted portion of the body cam footage, only 20 seconds worth. Here's how his brother described it to NBC News.
And what did you see?
Execution.
Execution?
Yes.
Describe it.
It's horrific. You know, you see a person trying to get away and the cops shooting at them. You know, that's not right.
Wow. Erica, what did you make of that?
I'm just so sick of seeing black people being shot in the middle of the street, judge, jury, executioner, and then we have trauma porn, like black trauma porn. I can't watch any more black trauma. Like I can't even watch sad stories with black people in them anymore because I've just completely hit my limit. So to see this family grieving, all this protected pain being exposed and exploited in some circles, it just, I'm at a loss. I'm at a complete loss.
Right. Okay, so to help now, we have a lot of questions, right? And I'm reading some of your questions right now, DBL Nation. So to help answer some of those questions, please welcome Attorney Gerald Griggs, who is a civil rights attorney. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us despite these awful circumstances. What is the holdup with releasing the body cam footage, and why did this judge just refuse to release it?
Well, North Carolina has specialized laws with regard to body cams, and they don't consider them public records, so you have to go through a process to have them released. That's why they had to petition the judge, and the judge made the decision that it's not in the best interest of the investigation to release it. And they said that probably release in 30 to 45 days at the conclusion of the investigation.
Attorney Griggs, thank you for being with us and clarifying that, because I know there's a lot of misinformation out there. So what will it take for the public to see for themselves what actually happened to Andrew Brown Jr., and how important is it that they do?
It's very important. This is why we have body cams, for transparency. And I think what's going to happen is pressure on the legislature to change the law, and pressure from the activists to get transparency, because we really need to know what happened to Mr. Brown. We need all sides of the story to be told to the public so they can have confidence in this investigation. So that's why I believe it's going to take changing law. I believe that there's a bill now in the North Carolina House that would change the law, but we need transparency and accountability, and that starts with releasing the video.
Thank you for being here. In this heightened time, I think people want answers, right? I look at Erica, I see her frustration. Just living every day, I see the frustration. How important is it, though, for the sheriff's department, before they put this video out, to make sure that everything is correct and they have all the information they need before they put it out?
I think to do a thorough and compelling investigation, they do need to interview all the witnesses and make sure they cross all their T's and dot all their I's. But currently, there's distrust with law enforcement. And the purpose of a body cam is not only to protect the citizen, but to protect law enforcement. So I think for transparency's sake, it's time to release the body cam so that everyone can get a clear picture, that emotions can come down a little bit and we can analyze what actually happened. So that's why I think it's important, not only for the citizens, but also for law enforcement, that this tape is released. You've had sufficient time to investigate. I do understand the judge's consideration in this case, but given the heightened awareness of what's happening, of course, what happened in Minnesota, what's happening around the country, it's time for more transparency. There need to be release of body cams timely. I believe 48 to 72 hours after an incident. You can secure your witness statements, but you can also have transparency in the process.
Amen. Well said. Well said, Attorney Griggs. Thank you so much for joining us here in DBL and helping us better understand what's going on with this case. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
As most
most of the country eyes a return to normalcy after the COVID-19 pandemic, one change will be sticking around: virtual learning, at least for some students. Let's connect the dots. When coronavirus hit, the U.S. launched an unprecedented effort to teach all students remotely. The experiment was a struggle for many families and their students, but some kids did actually thrive. Teachers report the kids who did well tended to be the ones with social anxiety, attention deficit disorder, or autism. Now school districts across the country are establishing online-only schools for the next academic year. For most districts, this means standalone virtual schools with teachers dedicated to working only with remote students. But not all virtual schools are the same. Some require students to work online courses independently, with only occasional online interaction with a teacher. That model obviously benefits children who are comfortable setting their own pace. It also tends to work best if parents are actively involved in the process. Other models are more teacher-directed, where students attend traditional classes just in a virtual setting. There is one big downside to continued virtual learning: less social interaction. While some online programs do include extracurricular activities, experts say it is hard to replicate the seeing your friends face-to-face. Connecting the dots, I'm Cheryl Mercedes, KHOU 11 News.
Welcome back to DBL. We've got some viral videos to share, and it seems like it might even be a trend. Massive brawls say it isn't so that have broken out in public. And a quick warning to our viewers, some of these videos you're about to see are graphic. So up first, check out this massive brawl at the Miami International Airport. The passengers were waiting on their flight to Chicago when this fight broke out. It reportedly started after they were told that there were only 3 standby seats available for their party of 4. One person was charged with disorderly conduct. Okay, let's go to the next one. There was also this fight that broke out at a seafood restaurant in Mississippi. It started out small before it turned more violent, with silverware, napkin dispensers, and even chairs being thrown. It's not entirely clear what started the fight. So why are we seeing more and more of these massive brawl videos? Let's bring in Al from home. Hey, Al, so you just saw those 2 videos. Is it because people are just filming more, or is there just a lot of tension and stress, and so therefore we're seeing more manifestations of it?
First of all, Sam, for anybody that this is their first time watching DBL, I'm not the fight consultant that you guys bring in. I'm a part of the show. Al, you've had many drunken bar brawls. What do you think?
No, you're not.
Honestly, when it comes to the airport, I've been doing stand-up professionally for 14 years, and that is tension with people scared to fly, and also the airport bar. A lot of people are drunk on flights. They're drunk when they land. They're drunk when they take off, and that's why we see flight attendants getting assaulted, gate agents being assaulted, and ultimately passengers that are frustrated fighting. So I think a lot of these things are alcohol-based. Also, videos are everywhere, and people are stressed out. I mean, we can't act like we're not going to have any fallout from us being basically cooped up for a year and a half.
Erica, you
I agree with that
the whole time.
No,
like
I totally agree. I think that, not that people weren't crazy before, and I say crazy not as a diagnosis. I'm saying crazy because you have lost your mind. If you are just in the airport of all places fighting, like you clearly don't want to go anywhere for a while. But I do think that people had lost it before, and now because of everything, being cooped up and all of that. But let's not get it twisted. People are out to fight. Some people are just fight people. They think every day is Fight Club. They are looking for somebody to look at them the wrong way in just the right moment so that they can snap and then blame it on them. I personally have a protocol for fights because I know it's going to happen at some point. So my husband and I almost got broke up because of brawls, 2 of them.
What?
Yes. Well, when we were dating, because apparently in Canada, you go towards the fight to see what's happening. And I'm from Chicago, and we don't go towards the fight. We go the opposite direction. And if you're going to stay there, then now we have officially severed ties because I am out the door and at home, and you can have anything you want to have happen so you can see what's happening in this fight. You got to go out the door. If a fight's happening this way, I'm going that way.
Is that you too, being from Chicago? You run out the door?
Nowadays, yeah. I'm going the other way. Nowadays, I'm going the other way.
The old Jeff. What would old Jeff do?
I'm going to peek my head around the corner and see what's going on.
I don't do it. I don't do it.
All right, coming up on DBL, the divorce between Robert De Niro and his wife. It's getting nasty. You won't believe how much money he says she spends a month. And cool moms make the world go round. We'll tell you how many Americans think they have a fun mom coming up next.
How's she doing?
Better now.
There are many situations where fully vaccinated people do not need to wear a mask.
A big announcement from Rochelle Walensky, the director of the CDC, about what people can now do outside without these masks. So let's verify what you can and can't do once you're fully vaccinated, which is 2 weeks after your final shot. Let's start with outdoor exercise. Whether you're vaccinated or not, the CDC says it's okay to run, walk, or bike without a mask. But if you're still awaiting that shot, you're going to want to keep your distance. Okay, what about small outdoor gatherings, like barbecues? Well, according to the CDC, if you're fully vaccinated, you won't need a mask, whether people there are vaccinated or not. Meanwhile, unvaccinated people will need to mask up when around other unvaccinated people outside of their circle. Now let's move on to my favorite thing. Food and outdoor dining. The CDC says those who are vaccinated are now safe to take off that mask when eating at an outdoor restaurant. As for unvaccinated people, the CDC is still not recommending that they eat outdoors at restaurants, although they say to wear a mask if they do. And what about the larger outdoor events, like sports games or concerts? Under their new guidance, the CDC says that these events are safe for vaccinated people, although they'll still need to wear a mask. These outdoor events are not deemed safe for those who are still awaiting a shot. As for indoor events, the guidance remains the same. Wear these masks even if you're vaccinated.
I'm dancing like I'm a cool mom. Welcome back to DBL. If you think your mom is cool, you're in good company. 70% of Americans say they have a cool mom. The new survey from one poll also breaks down the reasons why we think mom is the coolest. So more than half surveyed said it's because mom is open about everything, has great taste, gives good gifts, and lets us get away with things as kids. Okay. So here's the thing. When you really looked at that survey, it said there's the mom that lets you get away with things, okay? And then the other section, which I agree with, is the mom that you feel, it doesn't mean she's lenient. It just means that you feel comfortable talking to her.
What kind of mom are you, Sam?
I think I'm a fun mom, but I even though I want to be a cool mom, I just want to be a good mom. I don't want to be Sophie's best friend. I do hope that she will feel comfortable enough talking to me about anything and everything and under the sun, but sorry, I'm strict. I'm a little bit strict.
Are you?
I am.
What do you, okay, I'm gonna shame some moms here, okay? I know nobody likes that. Ooh, clip it. Ready? Instagram clip. Here we go. If you have a young daughter that's of drinking age, maybe 21, and you go out drinking with her and you're looking at the same guys, that's embarrassing.
I agree with
I'm
you.
shaming it. I'm shaming that mom right there. Go ahead, give that. You can't agree with that, Erica.
I don't agree with that.
What? I can agree or disagree with whatever I want to agree or disagree with.
Do you think that's cool if like you're going after the same guy with your mom and getting drunk?
I don't know what. Let people live, okay? Let them live. If
let
they're
them
adults, I can see if she was 16. I'm sorry, I don't care.
I don't mind going out with your daughter and having a fun afternoon drinking, but when you're like your best friend is your mom and you're going to the clubs and getting drunk together and going after the same guys.
If they're adults.
I'm gonna tell you, I've seen that a lot. I've seen that a lot, and it's a way for you to steal attention from your daughter. That has nothing to do with the mother-daughter relationship. That has to do with jealousy. I will say this: I think this is a generational study, and I'll tell you why. I think our mothers and the mothers coming before that were able to adapt a little bit easier. I'm looking at my mom and my dad. Like my mom was eating sushi in the 80s. She was making quinoa before y'all even knew what that was. And so like my mom adapted. My dad would have never done any of those things. But now I do think we're in the era now where dads are learning how to braid their daughter's hair and do, kind of be an evolving parent where that was never asked of us. So I want to see this in another 10 years. I want to see how this is.
I want to too. And God bless Dr. Jackie, your mom. And I just want to thank Al and Jeff for their input on mother-daughter relationships because I learned so much this segment.
Yeah, don't go on spring break with your daughter. It's disgusting. There you go. Put that at the end of the clip with a little button.
This segment's sponsored by mansplaining.
Oh, that's for the comments, Al. Wait, let the comments do that.
Coming up on DBL, Erica's face says it all. Coming up on DBL, the emotional phone call between a golf pro and his father when his PGA dreams come true. You do not want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
For all the parents out there, my advice is this: listen more than you speak. Listen to your kids. Don't be reactive, don't judge, and just love them.
The Supreme Court gearing up for a free speech showdown today. Let's connect the dots. The courts will have to decide how much power public schools have and whether or not they can punish students for a social media post. One argument is that students shouldn't get in trouble for things they post on personal pages during non-school hours. But here's the problem. Some say that would open the door for students to post vulgar, cruel, or even racist things without getting in trouble. We're in new territory here. For decades, Supreme Court cases have supported students' free speech rights, but those decisions were before Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. The outcome of the case could also impact how schools crack down on cyberbullying. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back to DBL. We've got a touching and emotional video to share. Golfer Michael Visacki had his dreams come true. He qualified for his first ever PGA Tour event. So like any good son, he called his dad to tell him the good news. Take a look.
All right. I made it. Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. All right. Congratulations. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. I know. Erica, you're crying. What goes through your head right now? Oh, Erica.
Sorry.
Don't apologize.
When I was cast on DBL, I went to the basement and called my aunt and my husband's aunt, who was with his mother, and neither one of them are here. And it's just, moments like that, you really do think about, like the people who you really want to make that connection with and memorialize that moment with. So that's just like, that's beautiful that he has that captured,
We love you, Erica. We're here with you. If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube. But if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. Divorce drama for Robert De Niro and his wife. Why it could all boil down to money. Then later in True Crime Chronicles, we're taking you inside a house of horror, masquerading as a place of worship. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Thank you, Chris. Welcome back, or welcome to DBL, rather. Depends on which market you're in.
That's
Some
right.
people are tuning in for the first time. Other people have been with us for the last half hour, okay? I'm Sam here with Jeff and Erica. Al joins us from home, and a lot of you, before we get started, have been commenting on my shirt. I'm wearing this in solidarity with my sister today, who's going through a double mastectomy. She's been very public about it, so I'm not speaking for her. I even asked her permission to wear this. I slept in it last night. Sorry, and I'm wearing it today because it's a 12 to 15-hour surgery, and I want to be with her in spirit. So, wishing you all the best, Monica.
Yes.
You've got this. You are a warrior. Okay, so Tristan Thompson is being accused of cheating on Khloe Kardashian. That was Al yelling Cavs, because anytime I mention anything about Tristan Thompson or Cleveland or Ohio, he has to blurt out
He doesn't even play for the Cavs anymore, but he did for the
used
championship
to.
team. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Okay,
2016, baby, forever right here.
Al, no one can hear you. The couple who have a 3-year-old daughter together rekindled their romance last summer, but now a woman who is alleging, well, she's saying that she had an affair with Tristan. During a podcast, Instagram model Sydney Chase admitted she hung out with Tristan in January while he was dating Khloe. She recently went on TikTok to confirm that the rumors of an affair were true. Watch.
We did have past relations. I then found out that he was in a relationship, and I ended things. We first met November 11th to be exact, and that's when everything started. And then the last time we had contact, besides when he messaged me after finding out about the interview, it was the day after his daughter's birthday party.
True's birthday was just 2 weeks ago, so Tristan and Khloe haven't said anything about the scandal, but last night Khloe posted a quote on Instagram that said, quote, "People who don't hesitate to share a kind word or do a good deed to brighten up someone else's day are the best kind of people." Ooh. Since, Al, you had a lot to say about them Cavs, let's start with you. What do you think of this latest cheating scandal? I just immediately think of a family, right? Like, here we're talking about it, but a family and a child is having to deal with that in real time at home.
And before I get started, I just want to say I'm not defending Tristan Thompson here. I'm just saying, in terms of his mentality, it seems like a young man, a man at this point that can't decide whether he wants to be a family man or be an entertainer that lives in entertainers' lives. And the worst thing you can do is try and do both, because you're just going to end up continually damaging not only a person that you love or once loved in the mother of your daughter, but your daughter herself as she grows older and learns about her dad's indiscretions. What he's doing, even though he's trying to sneak around, he's not doing it well. And because of that, he's going to cause permanent damage to the mother of his child and his daughter. And I think it's reprehensible. He needs to just cut the bridge and just live the life that he wants to live if these accusations are true.
Erica, what?
No, I think Al has a point. I also think that the truth is, for some people, infidelity is not a deal breaker. And if that's your relationship, that's your relationship. I do question this woman who's come out with these claims, not because it's her fault, because she's not in a relationship with Khloe, but if the intention behind coming out is to say that you didn't know that you were in a relation, or the guy that you were romantic with was in a relationship, doesn't that have to do with the core of the family? So don't you go, if you feel like it's necessary information, to the family, to the woman, and say, listen, I just want to say I did not know this happened. Do with you what you may. I am not in this situation, but I felt like it was on my heart. I wanted to tell you. But
Erica, you don't get followers by doing that. You don't get followers.
That's what I'm saying. Is this a clout chase? That's all I'm asking. I'm not saying it's her fault that she was in a relationship with him. But I am asking, what's the point of bringing it to the public if it's not to further embarrass this Khloe in this situation?
Why does she have her posse with her?
That was my only thing I was going to say. Who are those two girls? It looked like a Saturday Night Live skit. And if she goes
Saturday Night Live this weekend.
Wait, I mean, just first of all,
Mary Carey, who is that?
Who's even listening to what she's saying?
It was the one girl on the left keeps fading like Casper.
What do you mean?
She keeps going in and out like she's a ghost. Look at the one on the left.
Oh, maybe they're on a green screen or something. There is. They have like some. Oh, yeah.
Is her hair green?
You know, it'd be great if they went on like the Today Show to talk about it, and she brought them two with her. They just stood in the back.
Hey. Interesting.
All right, anyways.
Please write in DBL Nation. We want to hear from you. Okay, so Robert De Niro is in the middle of a bitter divorce battle with his ex, Grace Hightower. The former couple filed for divorce back in 2018, but the actor has continued to support her until their prenup kicks in. His lawyer says De Niro can't keep up with her spending and cut her monthly credit card limit from $375,000, whoa, to just $100,000. But Grace says that's unfair. She should be able to live the lifestyle she had during their marriage. De Niro's lawyer says the actor took roles in movies like Dirty Grandpa to pay for that lifestyle. He also owes more than $6 million in taxes and will use the money from his next 2 movies to pay that off. It just goes to show, like, doesn't matter how much wealth you have, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you broke.
Yeah. Because someone's spending $375,000 a month. That's insane. That's insane. She bought a $1.2 million diamond. Robert De Niro shouldn't have to pay for that. What do you mean I'm accustomed to this? That's ridiculous.
I agree. That's taking advantage, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's his fault, too. I liked this couple. I was very sad to see them part ways.
3
Maybe
years
it's something
ago?
sentimental. Yes, I was. I remember talking about it. I was very sad.
She seems really torn up, too.
I'm just saying that at this point, nobody can afford to live up to the standard of living of what was happening in the marriage if you owe the IRS $6 million. However, it's not a take advantage situation. You better take control situation. If you're going to be in a union, a partnership, a financial contract with somebody, be very transparent about what the expectation is. That is not too much to ask. And the more money that is involved, the more risk there truly is, because there's more to lose. How are you going to say, this is how much you're going to spend on a credit card when the IRS is like, where's my $6 million? If you have to do 2 more projects in order to take care of past tax debt, you ain't got no money.
Yeah.
So why is this even a thing?
Wait, no, Erica. What we are seeing here is somebody using the court system, laws that were put in place for a good reason, because there was a period of time where women did not work and mostly raised the children, and if they were a victim of divorce or were in a divorce, they really did not have the money to support themselves. Those laws are there for a reason. We are talking about somebody, and I read this article, that was upset that I believe she also has an allowance as well as the credit cards that was like $100,000 or $200,000 a month. This is a person that is consuming without joy, just buying things constantly.
You don't know
and
that.
it does seem like he was responsible and Erica, could you even figure out what to spend $300,000 a month on?
It's not about you and Jeff keep getting caught up on the amount of money. $275,000, $375,000. Yeah, but here's the thing. It could be $37 for somebody. Let's take them out of the equation and just put it out there. You need to stop selling a dream that you cannot maintain. And if you are going to be recipient of said dream, then if this dream cannot be maintained together, then you need to be able to let the dream go too. So all these people who think that their house is the mint, money is not printed at your home. So figure out what you're going to do until your days are over. Otherwise, you're just leaving a major tax burden and a lot of debt to your children.
That's crazy.
So we'll just be mad at Robert De Niro for being successful, and we'll just encourage this woman to spend the GDP of Guatemala every month because she's still trying to live this dream.
We can have this conversation, but I know you know what I mean when I'm telling you.
Text me right now. Text me during the commercial.
Sell the dream. Stop selling a dream. You clearly ain't got it.
He did until she took it.
Enough. We gotta go. Coming up on DBL, a really tragic story coming up. A house of prayer, more like a house of horror. The disturbing truth behind a facility founded on faith. Next in True Crime Chronicles. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
Most of the country eyes a return to normalcy after the COVID-19 pandemic. One change will be sticking around: virtual learning, at least for some students. Let's connect the dots. When coronavirus hit, the U.S. launched an unprecedented effort to teach all students remotely. The experiment was a struggle for many families and their students, but some kids did actually thrive. Teachers report the kids who did well tended to be the ones with social anxiety, attention deficit disorder, or autism. Now school districts across the country are establishing online-only schools for the next academic year. For most districts, this means standalone virtual schools with teachers dedicated to working only with remote students. But not all virtual schools are the same. Some require students to work online courses independently, with only occasional online interaction with the teacher. That model obviously benefits children who are comfortable setting their own pace. It also tends to work best if parents are actively involved in the process. Other models are more teacher-directed, where students attend traditional classes just in a virtual setting. There is one big downside to continued virtual learning: less social interaction. While some online programs do include extracurricular activities, experts say it is hard to replicate the seeing your friends face-to-face. Connecting the dots, I'm Cheryl Mercedes, KHOU 11 News.
Welcome back to DBL. In the 80s, Anna Young ran the House of Prayer. Few people knew what was actually happening behind closed doors. Decades later, we're learning the grim reality of the truth. Here's the horrific story in True Crime Chronicles. Some of the content may be disturbing.
Anna Young had a hard life growing up. She used her faith as motivation to keep going. In 1983, she started the House of Prayer near Gainesville, Florida.
The House of Prayer started out as supposed to be a safe haven.
It was a place for kids and women to go who needed a place to get back on their feet. Mother Anna recruited more than 20 members over a decade.
As people started idolizing or other broken people, people began to look at you as the voice of God.
Joy remembers her mother torturing members for their sins.
They're willing to lay down and take beatings and whippings and starvations and be in boxes and eat cow manure and everything because they love God so much. They just want to be pure and holy.
Court documents revealed 2-year-old Katonia Jackson was forced to run in circles and was beaten if she stopped. She ended up dying from a seizure. Shortly after, her 8-year-old brother, John Neal, ended up in the hospital for a severe skin infection, and doctors noticed similarities between him and his sister. It finally prompted an investigation into the House of Prayer.
When they would go in, they would see a very clean property, a very clean house, very orderly, very organized.
Anna was smart. She left no evidence behind.
Miss Anna had trapdoors, secret rooms, so she was able to hide children and to mask the goings-on there.
In 1986, another child arrived named Eamon Harper.
His lips were so crusted over that part of his lip, like the crust, touched my finger. Like, I've given it an order, and sometimes, thinking about it, I still feel it. I feel it.
Eamon was later found dead in a closet. It wasn't until 1992 Anna was caught when a 12-year-old member was found in a tub with chemicals and severe burns. Anna was charged with child abuse and fled. After being on the run for years, she was caught in 2001. Anna served some prison time, but was released and free again. Joy held onto those gut-wrenching memories for decades. But the day her mother criticized her for parenting,
I blurted out, "How can you tell me how to raise my kids when you killed 2 children?"
In 2017, Joy went to police and told them everything. There was enough evidence to charge Anna for the murders of Eamon Harper and Katonia Jackson.
If it wouldn't have been for Joy calling and having these memories and telling us about it, this would have gone unnoticed, unpunished.
Anna was sentenced to 30 years for the two murders, but 42 days later, she died in prison. A twist in the case, but finally some closure for Joy and the victims.
What I'm not going to do, though, is lie about, the lives that were lost during the process of, all of this journey, because I feel like if I live with those, then I'm just as guilty.
Horrible. Earlier, Tori and Brandon spoke with a reporter close to the case. Take a look. We are joined by First Coast News reporter Jocelyn Howard. Jocelyn, thank you so much for being here. Anna Young was an ex-cult leader who tortured and starved her members. Her daughter Joy witnessed it for years and finally turned her in. I just want to know, how did she work up the courage to finally do that?
Joy was very young, and she grew up just like a lot of these members, idolizing her mom, thinking that her mom was the voice of God. And she even went as far to say that she one day wanted to be like her mom, that matriarch of the House of Prayer. Then she got out into the real world and realized that what she saw was wrong. She saw the terrible things that her mother did, but on the other hand, she loves her mom. She made that very clear in our interview. She does love her mom. Wow. And she was going through that issue in her heart and her body of, do I turn my mom in? This is what really stuck to me in our interview. Her exact words were, how can you tell me how to raise my kids when you killed 2 children? Ooh. And that sent chills through my body. And she said, from there, I just needed to call law enforcement.
You just mentioned how you did speak with Joy, and did she ever tell you why she thinks her mother did all this?
Starting the House of Prayer and moving down to Florida was her mother's way of kind of dealing with her sins and trying to redeem herself. And so I don't think really cults always start out as, I'm going to start a cult. Right. It started out with great intentions. The House of Prayer started out as a safe haven for people, especially people who couldn't afford where they lived, couldn't afford food, couldn't afford childcare, and they brought these people onto the property. And it was a really great thing. I mean, they were feeding these people, and at the same time, though, Anna was feeding them the gospel as well. And these people started looking at her as, wow, what a holy woman.
The story spans decades. It's a really long case. Do you think, just in your heart, more victims will come forward?
You never know. You never know. And I mean, I actually have had some people reach out to me about this after my story came out that weren't necessarily a part of the House of Prayer, but they knew Anna before the House of Prayer. And they were telling me how she was before the House of Prayer. And so, I mean, this wasn't just the House of Prayer, this was Anna Young. Maybe some people will come forward, but I think law enforcement has a pretty good grasp right now on who all was there.
I'm fascinated to learn more about this case. If you are too, visit firstcoastnews.com. The story is also the subject of a new podcast episode. Just search True Crime Chronicles on your favorite podcast player. Jocelyn, great job on this story. What a hard story to follow. Thank you for all your work. And Anna Young's official cause of death has just been released. She died from COVID-19 complications. We'll be right back.
We all know that movement is like medicine, but getting the movement you
There are many situations where fully vaccinated people do not need to wear a mask.
A big announcement from Rochelle Walensky, the director of the CDC, about what people can now do outside without these masks. So let's verify what you can and can't do once you're fully vaccinated, which is 2 weeks after your final shot. Let's start with outdoor exercise. Whether you're vaccinated or not, the CDC says it's okay to run, walk, or bike without a mask. But if you're still awaiting that shot, you're going to want to keep your distance. Okay, what about small outdoor gatherings, like barbecues? Well, according to the CDC, if you're fully vaccinated, you won't need a mask, whether people there are vaccinated or not. Meanwhile, unvaccinated people will need a mask up when around other unvaccinated people outside of their circle. Now let's move on to my favorite thing, food, and outdoor dining. The CDC says those who are vaccinated are now safe to take off that mask when eating at an outdoor restaurant. As for unvaccinated people, the CDC is still not recommending that they eat outdoors at restaurants, although they say to wear a mask if they do. And what about the larger outdoor events, like sports games or concerts? Under their new guidance, the CDC says that these events are safe for vaccinated people, although they'll still need to wear a mask. These outdoor events are not deemed safe for those who are still awaiting a shot. As for indoor events, the guidance remains the same. Wear these masks even if you're vaccinated.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for a security alert sponsored by LifeLock. So scammers are continuing to use COVID-19 to steal your data. Here are 3 scams to be aware of. Fake post-vaccine surveys. Look out for any text messages or emails promising cash or a prize for filling out a survey if you've received a vaccine. Second, unemployment insurance. Anyone who has applied for this can be targeted with phony forms asking for your personal information. And lastly, the vaccine selfie. Don't post your card or let your kids or grandkids post their cards on social media unless the birth date and full name are covered. So when it comes to your financial assets, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. Call 1-800-439-9017 or visit lifelock.com to learn more. Wow. Some of them are getting creative, asking you to do some of those face morph things on Facebook. And then when you sign up to do those, it takes your information. And that can be a scam as well. So
Well, I think a lot of people are vaccinated, you know what I mean? And all I have to do is just zoom in on that. All your information's there. So people don't even think about it sometimes.
The worst type of person to capitalize on vulnerable people during the pandemic, right? Okay.
Low.
Coming up on DBL, incredible footage of a car exploding on the highway, but miraculously, don't worry, everyone survived. We'll hear from the survivors next.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
parents out there, my advice is this: listen more than you speak. Listen to your kids. Don't be reactive, don't judge, and just love them.
The Supreme Court gearing up for a free speech showdown today. Let's connect the dots. The courts will have to decide how much power public schools have and whether or not they can punish students for a social media post. One argument is that students shouldn't get in trouble for things they post on personal pages during non-school hours. But here's the problem. Some say that would open the door for students to post vulgar, cruel, or even racist things without getting in trouble. We're in new territory here. For decades, Supreme Court cases have supported students' free speech rights, but those decisions were before Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. The outcome of the case could also impact how schools crack down on cyberbullying. And that is connecting the dots.
On DBL, former Real Housewife of Orange County castmate Heather Dubrow is joining us live to give DBL Nation a dose of her unfiltered honesty. That's tomorrow, right here on DBL.
Oh, friend of the show, Heather, we can't wait to have you back. Welcome back to DBL. You won't believe how lucky some teens are to be alive after their car caught fire in Texas. Another vehicle recorded it, and you see the cart explode. It looks huge and terrifying, and you've got to wonder, how could anyone survive that? Well, here's what the passengers told GMA.
I knew something was wrong, so I stopped, and then we just walked down the hill onto the other side of the road by the church. And then it blew up.
Someone was looking out for them.
Yeah.
Major angels there.
You know what would have made that video better? If we had those two blonde girls on either side of the car. That should be like a new thing. Everyone should talk on Instagram with those two blonde girls superimposed. Make it way more interesting.
How much do you want to bet, Al, that they will have a skit, to Jeff's point, on SNL about that this weekend?
Definitely, and Jeff is the only person I've heard mention it. You know what we should do to really kind of get at that girl that's clearly clout chasing? We should interview the two girls in the back and not ever address their friend that was looking for the likes.
Yeah, there we go.
What do you want to interview them about, Al?
Why are you standing
Her
there?
hand
what
tattoo.
are you doing?
No, they can't talk. They just have to stand there.
DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place.
That's...
What we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Joe Rogan is under fire for his comments about the COVID vaccine. Dr. Fauci is fighting back against misinformation. New video shows deputies arriving at Andrew Brown Jr.'s home before the deadly shooting. But why is it taking so long for authorities to release footage of the entire incident? In today's True Crime Chronicles, a house of prayer that turned out to be a house of horror.
Because they love God so much. They just want to be pure and holy.
And crazy videos from a massive car explosion to airport and restaurant brawls.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, April 28th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Erica. Let's get right to it. If you have a huge platform and millions of fans, what kind of responsibility do you have to give people reliable and factual information about the pandemic? That's the question we are asking after Joe Rogan gave his millions of listeners some controversial and frankly incorrect advice on his Spotify podcast. Take a listen.
And people say, do you think it's safe to get vaccinated? I've said, yeah, I think for the most part it's safe to get vaccinated. I do. But if you're like 21 years old and you say to me, should I get vaccinated? I go, no. Yeah. Are you healthy? Are you a healthy person? Like, look, don't do anything stupid, but you should take care of yourself. You should, if you're a healthy person and you're exercising all the time and you're young and you're eating well, like, I don't think you need to worry about this.
So what does science have to say about young, healthy people getting vaccinated? Here's how Dr. Fauci responded to Rogan's comments on the Today Show.
Well, that's incorrect, Savannah. And the reason why is you're talking about yourself in a vacuum then. But you can get infected and will get infected if you put yourself at risk. It is likely that you, even if you have no symptoms, that you may inadvertently and innocently then infect someone else. So if you want to only worry about yourself and not society, then that's okay. But if you're saying to yourself, even if I get infected, I could do damage to somebody else, even if I have no symptoms at all. And that's the reason why you've got to be careful and get vaccinated.
Now, we are already getting a lot of comments from our DBL Nation. Jeff, what did you make about Joe Rogan's comments?
I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan, and I think it's unfair to take that one little soundbite out of context, right? And I understand how you feel, Sam, but he does a 3-hour show on purpose. I think he does do his due diligence. He says, I am not a doctor. Please don't listen to my opinions. I think he's advocating for people to take care of themselves during a pandemic. He always talks about vitamin D, talking about taking care of yourself. It will help if you get COVID, right? So in this particular context, his word is not gospel. He says it's not. I think as an adult, you need to listen to whether it be a podcast, whether it be a TV show, CNN, Fox News, and come up with your own opinions. You can't take what someone says, whether it be celebrity, athlete, whoever it may be, Joe Rogan, and take their word as gospel and move forward with that.
I agree with you and I disagree with you. So I agree with you that people should not take his word for gospel. But unfortunately, if you go on Twitter right now, or if you go on our comment section, you see that people are using Joe Rogan's words to validate their ideologies. And that's a problem.
That's silly.
Well, that's a problem. And because that is a fact, that's the way people react in this day and age to what a celebrity says. Unfortunately, it does boil down to the cost of lives. It does. And I take offense to it, but I also love Joe Rogan. I've been to his stand-up shows. I've paid money to go to his stand-up shows. I listen to his podcast.
He's also a comedian.
Yeah,
I know.
I know, but his words also matter. Millions of people follow him, and I don't want him to erase and minimize the suffering of so many young people who did not have underlying health conditions, who did not have pre-existing conditions, who were healthy, who did take their health and treated it to the upper echelon that he's not giving credit to, because otherwise he's minimizing and he's erasing the suffering. I know a lot of those families because there's a support group that my family has been a part of to people that have been affected by COVID. You all know that my brother-in-law has been affected by COVID since early January, on a ventilator, on ECMO, which is life support, in a coma, finally got a double lung transplant, and he's still not out of the woods. He's going to be in the hospital for another 3 to 6 months. That's excruciating. 9 months of his life gone, not to mention how it's going to affect the rest of his life. So I need to correct Joe Rogan here, because even though I love you, Joe Rogan, even though that you and I can have difference in opinion, here, I don't want to cancel Joe Rogan. I think that's wrong. I want Joe Rogan to educate himself. Look at the suffering that so many families have had to endure with young young, literally some of them are 4 years old, that have been on a ventilator, that had no pre-existing conditions. Some of them teenagers, some of them young 20-somethings. Healthy. My brother-in-law snowboards, surfs, skateboards, healthy as can be. So I just want Joe Rogan to educate himself, retract that statement, and be empathetic. And please, for the love of God, have the conversation, the right conversation with your listeners so they don't use your words to somehow validate their incorrect ideology. That's where I'm coming from.
That's the truth. I told you, my dad's a funeral director. 3 years old is the youngest that he's had with COVID complications.
Right, and even if they don't die, they're on a ventilator, or they're on life support, or they're long haulers. So let's just remember that. Okay, so this next story has been out for a week now, but people are really starting to ask, why is it taking so long for authorities to release the body cam footage showing Andrew Brown Jr.'s death? The FBI has opened a civil rights probe, and a judge in North Carolina today refused to release the footage. New footage shows North Carolina sheriff's deputies turning down the street. They're piled into the back of a truck. They pull up to his house. Police say they were there to serve a warrant for drug charges. Moments later, Brown was shot and killed. His family has seen a redacted portion of the body cam footage, only 20 seconds worth. Here's how his brother described it to NBC News.
And what did you see?
Execution.
Execution?
Yes.
Describe it.
It's horrific. You know, you see a person trying to get away and the cops shooting at them. You know, and that's not right.
Wow. Erica, what did you make of that?
I'm just so sick of seeing black people being shot in the middle of the street, judge, jury, executioner, and then we have trauma porn, like black trauma porn. I can't watch any more black trauma. Like I can't even watch sad stories with black people in them anymore because I've just completely hit my limit. So to see this family grieving, all this protected pain being exposed and exploited in some circles, it just, I'm at a loss. I'm at a complete loss.
Right. Okay, so to help now, we have a lot of questions, right? And I'm reading some of your questions right now, DBL Nation. So to help answer some of those questions, please welcome Attorney Gerald Griggs, who is a civil rights attorney. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us despite these awful circumstances. What is the holdup with releasing the body cam footage, and why did this judge just refuse to release it?
Well, North Carolina has specialized laws with regard to body cams, and they don't consider them public records, so you have to go through a process to have them released. That's why they had to petition the judge, and the judge made the decision that it's not in the best interest of the investigation to release it. And they said that probably release in 30 to 45 days at the conclusion of the investigation.
Attorney Griggs, thank you for being with us and clarifying that, because I know there's a lot of misinformation out there. So what will it take for the public to see for themselves what actually happened to Andrew Brown Jr., and how important is it that they do?
It's very important. This is why we have body cams, for transparency. And I think what's going to happen is pressure on the legislature to change the law, and pressure from the activists to get transparency, because we really need to know what happened to Mr. Brown. We need all sides of the story to be told to the public so they can have confidence in this investigation. So that's why I believe it's going to take changing law. I believe that there's a bill now in the North Carolina House that would change the law, but we need transparency and accountability, and that starts with releasing the video.
Thank you for being here. In this heightened time, I think people want answers, right? I look at Erica, I see her frustration. Just living every day, I see the frustration. How important is it, though, for the sheriff's department, before they put this video out, to make sure that everything is correct and they have all the information they need before they put it out?
I think to do a thorough and compelling investigation, they do need to interview all the witnesses and make sure they cross all their T's and dot all their I's. But currently, there's distrust with law enforcement. And the purpose of a body cam is not only to protect the citizen, but to protect law enforcement. So I think for transparency's sake, it's time to release the body cam so that everyone can get a clear picture, that emotions can come down a little bit, and we can analyze what actually happened. So that's why I think it's important, not only for the citizens, but also for law enforcement, that this tape is released. You've had sufficient time to investigate. I do understand the judge's consideration in this case, but given the heightened awareness of what's happening, of course, what happened in Minnesota, what's happening around the country, it's time for more transparency. There need to be release of body cams timely. I believe 48 to 72 hours after an incident. You can secure your witness statements, but you can also have transparency in the process.
Amen. Well said. Well said, Attorney Griggs. Thank you so much for joining us here in DBL and helping us better understand what's going on with this case. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
As most of the country eyes a return to normalcy after the COVID-19 pandemic, one change will be sticking around: virtual learning, at least for some students. Let's connect the dots. When coronavirus hit, the U.S. launched an unprecedented effort to teach all students remotely. The experiment was a struggle for many families and their students, but some kids did actually thrive. Teachers report the kids who did well tended to be the ones with social anxiety, attention deficit disorder, or autism. Now school districts across the country are establishing online-only schools for the next academic year. For most districts, this means standalone virtual schools with teachers dedicated to working only with remote students. But not all virtual schools are the same. Some require students to work online courses independently, with only occasional online interaction with a teacher. That model obviously benefits children who are comfortable setting their own pace. It also tends to work best if parents are actively involved in the process. Other models are more teacher-directed, where students attend traditional classes just in a virtual setting. There is one big downside to continued virtual learning: less social interaction. While some online programs do include extracurricular activities, experts say it is hard to replicate the seeing your friends face-to-face. Connecting the dots, I'm Cheryl Mercedes, KHOU 11 News.
Welcome back to DBL. We've got some viral videos to share, and it seems like it might even be a trend. Massive brawls say it isn't so, that have broken out in public. And a quick warning to our viewers, some of these videos you're about to see are graphic. So up first, check out this massive brawl at the Miami International Airport. The passengers were waiting on their flight to Chicago when this fight broke out. It reportedly started after they were told that there were only 3 standby seats available for their party of 4. One person was charged with disorderly conduct. Okay, let's go to the next one. There was also this fight that broke out at a seafood restaurant in Mississippi. It started out small before it turned more violent, with silverware, napkin dispensers, and even chairs being thrown. It's not entirely clear what started the fight. So why are we seeing more and more of these massive brawl videos? Let's bring in Al from home. Hey, Al, so you just saw those 2 videos. Is it because people are just filming more, or is there just a lot of tension and stress, and so therefore we're seeing more manifestations of it?
First of all, Sam, for anybody that this is their first time watching DBL, I'm not the fight consultant that you guys bring in. I'm a part of the show. Al, you've had many drunken bar brawls. What do you think?
No, you're not.
Honestly, when it comes to the airport, I've been doing stand-up professionally for 14 years, and that is tension with people scared to fly, and also the airport bar. A lot of people are drunk on flights. They're drunk when they land. They're drunk when they take off, and that's why we see flight attendants getting assaulted, gate agents being assaulted, and ultimately passengers that are frustrated fighting. So I think a lot of these things are alcohol-based. Also, you know, videos are everywhere, and people are stressed out. I mean, we can't act like we're not going to have any fallout from us being basically cooped up for a year and a half.
Erica, you
I agree with that
the whole time.
No,
Like
I totally agree. I think that, you know, not that people weren't crazy before, and I say crazy not as a diagnosis. I'm saying crazy because you have lost your mind. If you are just in the airport of all places fighting, like you clearly don't want to go anywhere for a while. But I do think that people had lost it before, and now because of everything being cooped up and all of that. But let's not get it twisted. People are out to fight. Some people are just fight people. They think every day is Fight Club. They are looking for somebody to look at them the wrong way in just the right moment so that they can snap and then blame it on them. I personally have a protocol for fights because I know it's going to happen at some point. So my husband and I almost got broke up because of brawls, 2 of them.
What?
Yes. Well, when we were dating, because apparently in Canada, you go towards the fight to see what's happening. And I'm from Chicago, and we don't go towards the fight. We go the opposite direction. And if you're going to stay there, then now we have officially severed ties because I am out the door and at home, and you can have anything you want to have happen so you can see what's happening in this fight. You got to go out the door. If a fight's happening this way, I'm going that way.
Is that you too, being from Chicago? You run out the door?
Nowadays, yeah. I'm going
before you would have jumped in.
Nowadays, I'm going the
What
other
about
way.
the old Jeff? What would old Jeff do?
I'm going to peek my head around the corner and see what's going on.
I don't do it. I don't do it.
All right, coming up on DBL, the divorce between Robert De Niro and his wife. It's getting nasty. You won't believe how much money he says she spends a month. And cool moms make the world go round. We'll tell you how many Americans think they have a fun mom coming up next.
How's she doing?
There are many situations where fully vaccinated people do not need to wear a mask.
A big announcement from Rochelle Walensky, the director of the CDC, about what people can now do outside without these masks. So let's verify what you can and can't do once you're fully vaccinated, which is 2 weeks after your final shot. Let's start with outdoor exercise. Whether you're vaccinated or not, the CDC says it's okay to run, walk, or bike without a mask. But if you're still awaiting that shot, you're going to want to keep your distance. Okay, what about small outdoor gatherings, like barbecues? Well, according to the CDC, if you're fully vaccinated, you won't need a mask, whether people there are vaccinated or not. Meanwhile, unvaccinated people will need a mask up when around other unvaccinated people outside of their circle. Now let's move on to my favorite thing. Food and outdoor dining. The CDC says those who are vaccinated are now safe to take off that mask when eating at an outdoor restaurant. As for unvaccinated people, the CDC is still not recommending that they eat outdoors at restaurants, although they say to wear a mask if they do. And what about the larger outdoor events, like sports games or concerts? Under their new guidance, the CDC says that these events are safe for vaccinated people, although they'll still need to wear a mask. These outdoor events are not deemed safe for those who are still awaiting a shot. As for indoor events, the guidance remains the same. Wear these masks even if you're vaccinated.
I'm dancing like I'm a cool mom. Welcome back to DBL. If you think your mom is cool, you're in good company. 70% of Americans say they have a cool mom. The new survey from one poll also breaks down the reasons why we think mom is the coolest. So more than half surveyed said it's because mom is open about everything, has great taste, gives good gifts, and lets us get away with things as kids. Okay. So here's the thing. When you really looked at that survey, it said there's the mom that lets you get away with things, okay? And then the other section, which I agree with, is the mom that you feel, it doesn't mean she's lenient. It just means that you feel comfortable talking to her.
What kind of mom are you, Sam?
I think I'm a fun mom, but even though I want to be a cool mom, I just want to be a good mom. I don't want to be Sophie's best friend. I do hope that she will feel comfortable enough talking to me about anything and everything and under the sun, but sorry, I'm strict. I'm a little bit strict.
Are you?
I am.
What do you, okay, I'm gonna shame some moms here, okay? I know nobody likes that. Ooh, clip it. Ready? Instagram clip. Here we go. If you have a young daughter that's of drinking age, maybe 21, and you go out drinking with her and you're looking at the same guys, that's embarrassing.
I agree
okay,
with
I'm
you.
shaming it. I'm shaming that mom right there. Go ahead, give that. You can't agree with that, Erica.
I don't agree with that.
What? I can agree or disagree with whatever I want to agree or disagree with.
Do you think that's cool if, like, you're going after the same guy with your mom and getting drunk?
I don't know what. Let people live, okay? Let them live. If
let
they're
them
adults, I can see if she was 16. I'm sorry, I don't care.
I don't mind going out with your daughter and having a fun afternoon drinking, but when you're like your best friend is your mom and you're going to the clubs and getting drunk together and going after the same guys.
If they're adults,
I'm gonna tell you, I've seen that a lot. I've seen that a lot, and it's a way for you to steal attention from your daughter. That has nothing to do with the mother-daughter relationship. That has to do with jealousy. I will say this: I think this is a generational study, and I'll tell you why. I think our mothers and the mothers coming before that were able to adapt a little bit easier. I'm looking at my mom and my dad. Like, my mom was eating sushi in the 80s. She was making quinoa before y'all even knew what that was. And so, like, my mom adapted. My dad would have never done any of those things. But now I do think we're in the era now where dads are learning how to braid their daughter's hair and do, kind of be an evolving parent where that was never asked of us. So I want to see this in another 10 years. I want to see how this is.
I want to too. And God bless Dr. Jackie, your mom. And I just want to thank Al and Jeff for their input on mother-daughter relationships, because I learned so much this segment.
Yeah, don't go on spring break with your daughter. It's disgusting. There you go. Put that at the end of the clip with a little button.
This segment's sponsored by mansplaining.
Oh, that's for the comments, Al. Wait, let the comments do that.
Coming up on DBL, Erica's face says it all. Coming up on DBL, the emotional phone call between a golf pro and his father when his PGA dreams come true. You do not want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
For all the parents out there, my advice is this: listen more than you speak. Listen to your kids. Don't be reactive, don't judge, and just love them.
The Supreme Court gearing up for a free speech showdown today. Let's connect the dots. The courts will have to decide how much power public schools have and whether or not they can punish students for a social media post. One argument is that students shouldn't get in trouble for things they post on personal pages during non-school hours. But here's the problem. Some say that would open the door for students to post vulgar, cruel, or even racist things without getting in trouble. We're in new territory here. For decades, Supreme Court cases have supported students' free speech rights, but those decisions were before Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. The outcome of the case could also impact how schools crack down on cyberbullying. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back to DBL. We've got a touching and emotional video to share. Golfer Michael Vaccinated had his dreams come true. He qualified for his first ever PGA Tour event. So like any good son, he called his dad to tell him the good news. Take a look.
All right.
I made it. Yeah. Yes.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. I know. Erica, you're crying. What goes through your head right now? Oh, Erica.
Sorry.
Don't apologize.
When I was cast on DBL, I went to the basement and called my aunt and my husband's aunt, who was with his mother, and neither one of them are here. And it's just, moments like that, you really do think about, like the people who you really want to make that connection with and memorialize that moment with. So that's just like, that's beautiful that he has that captured,
We love you, Erica. We're here with you. If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube. But if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. Divorce drama for Robert De Niro and his wife. Why it could all boil down to money. Then later in True Crime Chronicles, we're taking you inside a house of horror, masquerading as a place of worship. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Thank you, Chris. Welcome back, or welcome to DBL, rather. Depends on which market you're in.
That's
Some
right.
people are tuning in for the first time. Other people have been with us for the last half hour, okay? I'm Sam here with Jeff and Erica. Al joins us from home, and a lot of you, before we get started, have been commenting on my shirt. I'm wearing this in solidarity with my sister today, who's going through a double mastectomy. She's been very public about it, so I'm not speaking for her. I even asked her permission to wear this. I slept in it last night. Sorry, and I'm wearing it today because it's a 12 to 15-hour surgery, and I want to be with her in spirit. So, wishing you all the best, Monica.
Yes.
You've got this. You are a warrior. Okay, so Tristan Thompson is being accused of cheating on Khloe Kardashian. That was Al yelling Cavs, because anytime I mention anything about Tristan Thompson or Cleveland or Ohio, he has to blurt out
He doesn't even play
Cavs.
for the Cavs anymore, but he did for the championship team. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Okay,
2016, baby, forever right here.
Al, no one can hear you. The couple who have a 3-year-old daughter together rekindled their romance last summer, but now a woman who is alleging, well, she's saying that she had an affair with Tristan. During a podcast, Instagram model Sydney Chase admitted she hung out with Tristan in January while he was dating Khloe. She recently went on TikTok to confirm that the rumors of an affair were true. Watch.
We did have past relations. I then found out that he was in a relationship, and I ended things. We first met November 11th to be exact, and that's when everything started. And then the last time we had contact, besides when he messaged me after finding out about the interview, it was the day after his daughter's birthday party.
True's birthday was just 2 weeks ago, so Tristan and Khloe haven't said anything about the scandal, but last night Khloe posted a quote on Instagram that said, quote, "People who don't hesitate to share a kind word or do a good deed to brighten up someone else's day are the best kind of people." Ooh, since Al, you had a lot to say about them Cavs, let's start with you. What do you think of this latest cheating scandal? I just immediately think of a family, right? Like, here we're talking about it, but a family and a child is having to deal with that in real time at home.
And before I get started, I just want to say I'm not defending Tristan Thompson here. I'm just saying, in terms of his mentality, it seems like a young man, a man at this point that can't decide whether he wants to be a family man or be an entertainer that lives in entertainers' lives. And the worst thing you can do is try and do both, because you're just going to end up continually damaging not only a person that you love or once loved in the mother of your daughter, but your daughter herself as she grows older and learns about her dad's indiscretions. What he's doing, even though he's trying to sneak around, he's not doing it well. And because of that, he's going to cause permanent damage to the mother of his child and his daughter. And I think it's reprehensible. He needs to just cut the bridge and just live the life that he wants to live if these accusations are true.
Erica, what?
No, I think Al has a point. I also think that the truth is, for some people, infidelity is not a deal breaker. And if that's your relationship, that's your relationship. I do question this woman who's come out with these claims, not because it's her fault, because she's not in a relationship with Khloe, but if the intention behind coming out is to say that you didn't know that you were in a relation, or the guy that you were romantic with was in a relationship, doesn't that have to do with the core of the family? So don't you go, if you feel like it's necessary information, to the family, to the woman, and say, listen, I just want to say I did not know this happened. Do with you what you may. I am not in this situation, but I felt like it was on my heart. I wanted to tell you. But
Erica, you don't get followers by doing that. You don't get
that's
followers.
What I'm saying. Is this a clout chase? That's all I'm asking. I'm not saying it's her fault that she was in a relationship with him. But I am asking, what's the point of bringing it to the public if it's not to further embarrass this Khloe in this situation?
Why does she have her posse with her? What's that all about?
That was my only thing I was going to say. Who are those two girls? It looked like a Saturday Night Live skit. And if she goes
Saturday Night Live this weekend.
Wait, I mean, just first of all,
Mary Carey, who is that?
Who's even listening to what she's saying?
It was the one girl on the left keeps fading like Casper.
What do you mean?
She keeps going in and out like she's a ghost. Look at the one on the left.
Oh, maybe they're on a green screen or something. There is. They have like some. Oh, yeah.
Is her hair green?
You know, it'd be great if they went on like the Today Show to talk about it, and she brought them two with her. They just stood in the back.
Hey. Interesting.
All right, anyways.
Please write in DBL Nation. We want to hear from you. Okay, so Robert De Niro is in the middle of a bitter divorce battle with his ex, Grace Hightower. The former couple filed for divorce back in 2018, but the actor has continued to support her until their prenup kicks in. His lawyer says De Niro can't keep up with her spending and cut her monthly credit card limit from $375,000, whoa, to just $100,000. But Grace says that's unfair. She should be able to live the lifestyle she had during their marriage. De Niro's lawyer says the actor took roles in movies like Dirty Grandpa to pay for that lifestyle. He also owes more than $6 million in taxes and will use the money from his next two movies to pay that off. It just goes to show, like, doesn't matter how much wealth you have, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you broke.
Yeah. Because someone's spending $375,000 a month. That's insane. That's insane. She bought a $1.2 million diamond. Robert De Niro shouldn't have to pay for that. What do you mean I'm accustomed to this? That's ridiculous.
I agree. That's taking advantage, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's his fault, too. I liked this couple. I was very sad to see them part ways. Maybe it's something sentimental. Yes, I was. I remember talking about it. I was very sad.
She seems really torn up, too.
I'm just saying that at this point, nobody can afford to live up to the standard of living of what was happening in the marriage if you owe the IRS $6 million. However, it's not a take advantage situation. You better take control situation. If you're going to be in a union, a partnership, a financial contract with somebody, be very transparent about what the expectation is. That is not too much to ask. And the more money that is involved, the more risk there truly is, because there's more to lose. How are you going to say, this is how much you're going to spend on a credit card when the IRS is like, where's my $6 million? If you have to do 2 more projects in order to take care of past tax debt, you ain't got no money.
Yeah.
So why is this even a thing?
Wait, no, Erica. What we are seeing here is somebody using the court system, laws that were put in place for a good reason, because there was a period of time where women did not work and mostly raised the children, and if they were a victim of divorce or were in a divorce, they really did not have the money to support themselves. Those laws are there for a reason. We are talking about somebody, and I read this article, that was upset that I believe she also has an allowance as well as the credit cards that was like $100,000 or $200,000 a month. This is a person that is consuming without joy, just buying things constantly.
You don't know
and
that.
It does seem like he was responsible and Erica, could you even figure out what to spend $300,000 a month on?
It's not about you and Jeff keep getting caught up on the amount of money. $275,000, $375,000. Yeah, but here's the thing. It could be $37 for somebody. Let's take them out of the equation and just put it out there. You need to stop selling a dream that you cannot maintain. And if you are going to be recipient of said dream, then if this dream cannot be maintained together, then you need to be able to let the dream go too. So all these people who think that their house is the mint, money is not printed at your home. So figure out what you're going to do until your days are over. Otherwise, you're just leaving a major tax burden and a lot of debt to your children.
That's crazy.
So we'll just be mad at Robert De Niro for being successful, and we'll just encourage this woman to spend the GDP of Guatemala every month because she's still trying to live this dream.
We can have this conversation, but I know you know what I mean when I'm telling you.
Text me right now. Text me during the commercial.
Sell the dream. Stop selling a dream. You clearly ain't got it.
He did until she took it.
Enough. We gotta go. Coming up on DBL, a really tragic story coming up. A house of prayer, more like a house of horror. The disturbing truth behind a facility founded on faith. Next in True Crime Chronicles. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by...
How great is it?
As most of the country eyes a return to normalcy after the COVID-19 pandemic, one change will be sticking around: virtual learning, at least for some students. Let's connect the dots. When coronavirus hit, the U.S. launched an unprecedented effort to teach all students remotely. The experiment was a struggle for many families and their students, but some kids did actually thrive. Teachers report the kids who did well tended to be the ones with social anxiety, attention deficit disorder, or autism. Now school districts across the country are establishing online-only schools for the next academic year. For most districts, this means standalone virtual schools with teachers dedicated to working only with remote students. But not all virtual schools are the same. Some require students to work online courses independently, with only occasional online interaction with the teacher. That model obviously benefits children who are comfortable setting their own pace. It also tends to work best if parents are actively involved in the process. Other models are more teacher-directed, where students attend traditional classes just in a virtual setting. There is one big downside to continued virtual learning: less social interaction. While some online programs do include extracurricular activities, experts say it is hard to replicate the seeing your friends face-to-face. Connecting the dots, I'm Cheryl Mercedes, KHOU 11 News.
Welcome back to DBL. In the 80s, Anna Young ran the House of Prayer. Few people knew what was actually happening behind closed doors. Decades later, we're learning the grim reality of the truth. Here's the horrific story in True Crime Chronicles. Some of the content may be disturbing.
Anna Young had a hard life growing up. She used her faith as motivation to keep going. In 1983, she started the House of Prayer near Gainesville, Florida.
The House of Prayer started out as supposed to be a safe haven.
It was a place for kids and women to go who needed a place to get back on their feet. Mother Anna recruited more than 20 members over a decade.
As people started idolizing or other broken people, people began to look at you as the voice of God.
Joy remembers her mother torturing members for their sins.
They're willing to lay down and take beatings and whippings and starvations and be in boxes and eat cow manure and everything because they love God so much. They just want to be pure and holy.
Court documents revealed 2-year-old Katonia Jackson was forced to run in circles and was beaten if she stopped. She ended up dying from a seizure. Shortly after, her 8-year-old brother, John Neal, ended up in the hospital for a severe skin infection, and doctors noticed similarities between him and his sister. It finally prompted an investigation into the House of Prayer.
When they would go in, they would see a very clean property, a very clean house, very orderly, very organized.
Anna was smart. She left no evidence behind.
Miss Anna had trapdoors, secret rooms, so she was able to hide children and to mask the goings-on there.
In 1986, another child arrived named Eamon Harper.
His lips were so crusted over that part of his lip, like the crust, touched my finger. Like, I've given it an order, and sometimes, thinking about it, I still feel it. I feel it.
Eamon was later found dead in a closet. It wasn't until 1992 Anna was caught. when a 12-year-old member was found in a tub with chemicals and severe burns. Anna was charged with child abuse and fled. After being on the run for years, she was caught in 2001. Anna served some prison time, but was released and free again. Joy held onto those gut-wrenching memories for decades. But the day her mother criticized her for parenting,
I blurted out, "How can you tell me how to raise my kids when you killed 2 children?"
in 2017, Joy went to police and told them everything. There was enough evidence to charge Anna for the murders of Eamon Harper and Katonia Jackson.
If it wouldn't have been for Joy calling and having these memories and telling us about it, this would have gone unnoticed, unpunished.
Anna was sentenced to 30 years for the 2 murders, but 42 days later, she died in prison. A twist in the case, but finally some closure for Joy and the victims.
What I'm not going to do, though, is lie about, the lives that were lost during the process of, all of this journey, because I feel like if I live with those, then I'm just as guilty.
Horrible. Earlier, Tori and Brandon spoke with a reporter close to the case. Take a look. We are joined by First Coast News reporter Jocelyn Howard. Jocelyn, thank you so much for being here. Anna Young was an ex-cult leader who tortured and starved her members. Her daughter Joy witnessed it for years and finally turned her in. I just want to know, how did she work up the courage to finally do that?
Joy was very young, and she grew up just like a lot of these members, idolizing her mom, thinking that her mom was the voice of God. And she even went as far to say that she one day wanted to be like her mom, that matriarch of the House of Prayer. Then she got out into the real world and realized that what she saw was wrong. She saw the terrible things that her mother did, but on the other hand, she loves her mom. She made that very clear in our interview. She does love her mom. Wow. And she was going through that issue in her heart and her body of, do I turn my mom in? This is what really stuck to me in our interview. Her exact words were, "How can you tell me how to raise my kids when you killed 2 children?" Ooh. And that sent chills through my body. And she said, from there, I just needed to call law enforcement.
You just mentioned how you did speak with Joy, and did she ever tell you why she thinks her mother did all this?
Starting the House of Prayer and moving down to Florida was her mother's way of kind of dealing with her sins and trying to redeem herself. And so I don't think really cults always start out as, I'm going to start a cult. Right. It started out with great intentions. The House of Prayer started out as a safe haven for people, especially people who couldn't afford where they lived, couldn't afford food, couldn't afford childcare, and they brought these people onto the property. And it was a really great thing. I mean, they were feeding these people, and at the same time, though, Anna was feeding them the gospel as well. And these people started looking at her as, wow, what a holy woman.
The story spans decades. It's a really long case. Do you think, just in your heart, more victims will come forward?
You never know. You never know. And I mean, I actually have had some people reach out to me about this after my story came out that weren't necessarily a part of the House of Prayer, but they knew Anna before the House of Prayer. And they were telling me how she was before the House of Prayer. And so, I mean, this wasn't just the House of Prayer, this was Anna Young. Maybe some people will come forward, but I think law enforcement has a pretty good grasp right now on who all was there.
I'm fascinated to learn more about this case. If you are too, visit firstcoastnews.com. The story is also the subject of a new podcast episode. Just search True Crime Chronicles on your favorite podcast player. Jocelyn, great job on this story. What a hard story to follow. Thank you for all your work. And Anna Young's official cause of death has just been released. She died from COVID-19 complications. We'll be right back.
We all know that movement is like medicine.
There are many situations where fully vaccinated people do not need to wear a mask.
A big announcement from Rochelle Walensky, the director of the CDC, about what people can now do outside without these masks. So let's verify what you can and can't do once you're fully vaccinated, which is 2 weeks after your final shot. Let's start with outdoor exercise. Whether you're vaccinated or not, the CDC says it's okay to run, walk, or bike without a mask. But if you're still awaiting that shot, you're going to want to keep your distance. Okay, what about small outdoor gatherings, like barbecues? Well, according to the CDC, if you're fully vaccinated, you won't need a mask, whether people there are vaccinated or not. Meanwhile, unvaccinated people will need a mask up when around other unvaccinated people outside of their circle. Now let's move on to my favorite thing. Food and outdoor dining. The CDC says those who are vaccinated are now safe to take off that mask when eating at an outdoor restaurant. As for unvaccinated people, the CDC is still not recommending that they eat outdoors at restaurants, although they say to wear a mask if they do. And what about the larger outdoor events, like sports games or concerts? Under their new guidance, the CDC says that these events are safe for vaccinated people, although they'll still need to wear a mask. These outdoor events are not deemed safe for those who are still awaiting a shot. As for indoor events, the guidance remains the same. Wear these masks even if you're vaccinated.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for a security alert sponsored by LifeLock. So scammers are continuing to use COVID-19 to steal your data. Here are 3 scams to be aware of. Fake post-vaccine surveys. Look out for any text messages or emails promising cash or a prize for filling out a survey if you received a vaccine. Second, unemployment insurance. Anyone who has applied for this can be targeted with phony forms asking for your personal information. And lastly, the vaccine selfie. Don't post your card or let your kids or grandkids post their cards on social media unless the birth date and full name are covered. So when it comes to your financial assets, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. Call 1-800-439-9017 or visit lifelock.com to learn more. Wow. Some of them are getting creative, asking you to do some of those face morph things on Facebook. And then when you sign up to do those, it takes your information. And that can be a scam as well. So
Well, I think a lot of people are vaccinated, you know what I mean? And all I have to do is just zoom in on that. All your information's there. So people don't even think about it sometimes.
The worst type of person to capitalize on vulnerable people during the pandemic, right? Okay.
Low.
Coming up on DBL, incredible footage of a car exploding on the highway, but miraculously, don't worry, everyone survived. We'll hear from the survivors next.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
For all the parents out there, my advice is this: listen more than you speak. Listen to your kids. Don't be reactive, don't judge, and just love them.
The Supreme Court gearing up for a free speech showdown today. Let's connect the dots. The courts will have to decide how much power public schools have and whether or not they can punish students for a social media post. One argument is that students shouldn't get in trouble for things they post on personal pages during non-school hours. But here's the problem. Some say that would open the door for students to post vulgar, cruel, or even racist things without getting in trouble. We're in new territory here. For decades, Supreme Court cases have supported students' free speech rights, but those decisions were before Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. The outcome of the case could also impact how schools crack down on cyberbullying. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Tomorrow on DBL, former Real Housewife of Orange County castmate Heather Dubrow is joining us live to give DBL Nation a dose of her unfiltered honesty. That's tomorrow right here on DBL.
Oh, friend of the show, Heather, we can't wait to have you back. Welcome back to DBL. You won't believe how lucky some teens are to be alive after their car caught fire in Texas. Another vehicle recorded it, and you see the cart explode. It looks huge and terrifying, and you've got to wonder, how could anyone survive that? Well, here's what the passengers told GMA.
I knew something was wrong, so I stopped, and then we just walked down the hill onto the other side of the road by the church. And then it blew up.
Someone was looking out for them.
Yeah.
Major angels there.
You know what would have made that video better? If we had those two blonde girls on either side of the car. That should be like a new thing. Everyone should talk on Instagram with those two blonde girls superimposed. Make it way more interesting.
Do you want to bet, Al, that they will have a skit, to Jeff's point, on SNL about that this weekend?
Definitely, and Jeff is the only person I've heard mention it. You know what we should do to really kind of get at that girl that's clearly clout chasing? We should interview the two girls in the back and not ever address their friend that was looking for the likes.
Yeah, there we go.
What do you want to interview them about, Al?
Why are you standing
Her
there?
hand
what
tattoo.
are you doing?
No, they can't talk. They just have to stand there.
DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place.
That's...
Talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Joe Rogan is under fire for his controversial comments about the COVID vaccine.
If you're like 21 years old and you say to me, should I get vaccinated? I go, no.
How Dr. Fauci is fighting back against misinformation. New video shows deputies arriving at Andrew Brown Jr.'s home before the deadly shooting. But why is it taking so long for authorities to release footage of the entire incident? In today's True Crime Chronicles, a house of prayer that turned out to be a house of horror.
Because they love God so much. They just want to be pure and holy.
And crazy videos from a massive car explosion to airport and restaurant brawls.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, April 28th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Erica. Let's get right to it. If you have a huge platform and millions of fans, what kind of responsibility do you have to give people reliable and factual information about the pandemic? That's the question we are asking after Joe Rogan gave his millions of listeners some controversial and frankly incorrect advice on his Spotify podcast. Take a listen.
And people say, do you think it's safe to get vaccinated? I've said, yeah, I think for the most part it's safe to get vaccinated. I do. But if you're like 21 years old and you say to me, should I get vaccinated? I go, no. Yeah. Are you healthy? Are you a healthy person? Like, look, don't do anything stupid, but you should take care of yourself. You should, if you're a healthy person and you're exercising all the time and you're young and you're eating well, like, I don't think you need to worry about this.
So what does science have to say about young, healthy people getting vaccinated? Here's how Dr. Fauci responded to Rogan's comments on the Today Show.
Well, that's incorrect, Savannah. And the reason why is that you're talking about yourself in a vacuum then. But you can get infected and will get infected if you put yourself at risk. It is likely that you, even if you have no symptoms, that you may inadvertently and innocently then infect someone else. So if you want to only worry about yourself and not society, then that's okay. But if you're saying to yourself, even if I get infected, I could do damage to somebody else, even if I have no symptoms at all. And that's the reason why you've got to be careful and get vaccinated.
Now, we are already getting a lot of comments from our DBL Nation. Jeff, what did you make about Joe Rogan's comments?
I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan, and I think it's unfair to take that one little soundbite out of context, right? And I understand how you feel, Sam, but he does a 3-hour show on purpose. I think he does do his due diligence. He says, I am not a doctor. Please don't listen to my opinions. I think he's advocating for people to take care of themselves during a pandemic. He always talks about vitamin D, talking about taking care of yourself. It will help if you get COVID, right? So in this particular context, his word is not gospel. He says it's not. I think as an adult, you need to listen to whether it be a podcast, whether it be a TV show, CNN, Fox News, and come up with your own opinions. You can't take what someone says, whether it be celebrity, athlete, whoever it may be, Joe Rogan, and take their word as gospel and move forward with that.
I agree with you and I disagree with you. So I agree with you that people should not take his word for gospel. But unfortunately, if you go on Twitter right now, or if you go on our comment section, you see that people are using Joe Rogan's words to validate their ideologies. And that's a problem.
That's silly.
Well, that's a problem. And because that is a fact, that's the way people react in this day and age to what a celebrity says. Unfortunately, it does boil down to the cost of lives. It does. And I take offense to it, but I also love Joe Rogan. I've been to his stand-up shows. I've paid money to go to his stand-up shows. I listen to his podcast.
He's also a comedian.
Yeah,
I know.
I know, but his words also matter. Millions of people follow him, and I don't want him to erase and minimize the suffering of so many young people who did not have underlying health conditions, who did not have pre-existing conditions, who were healthy, who did take their health and treated it to the upper echelon that he's not giving credit to, because otherwise he's minimizing and he's erasing the suffering. I know a lot of those families because there's a support group that my family has been a part of to people that have been affected by COVID. You all know that my brother-in-law has been affected by COVID since early January, on a ventilator, on ECMO, which is life support, in a coma, finally got a double lung transplant, and he's still not out of the woods. He's going to be in the hospital for another 3 to 6 months. That's excruciating. 9 months of his life gone, not to mention how it's going to affect the rest of his life. So I need to correct Joe Rogan here, because even though I love you, Joe Rogan, even though that you and I can have difference in opinion, here, I don't want to cancel Joe Rogan. I think that's wrong. I want Joe Rogan to educate himself. Look at the suffering that so many families have had to endure with young, literally, some of them are 4 years old that have been on a ventilator, that had no pre-existing conditions. Some of them teenagers, some of them young 20-somethings. healthy. My brother-in-law snowboards, surfs, skateboards, healthy as can be. So I just want Joe Rogan to educate himself, retract that statement, and be empathetic. And please, for the love of God, have the conversation, the right conversation with your listeners so they don't use your words to somehow validate their incorrect ideology. That's where I'm coming from.
That's the truth. I told you, my dad's a funeral director. 3 years old is the youngest that he's had with COVID complications.
Right, and even if they don't die, they're on a ventilator, or they're on life support, or they're long haulers. So let's just remember that. Okay, so this next story has been out for a week now, but people are really starting to ask, why is it taking so long for authorities to release the body cam footage showing Andrew Brown Jr.'s death? The FBI has opened a civil rights probe, and a judge in North Carolina today refused to release the footage. New footage shows North Carolina sheriff's deputies turning down the street. They're piled into the back of a truck. They pull up to his house. Police say they were there to serve a warrant for drug charges. Moments later, Brown was shot and killed. His family has seen a redacted portion of the body cam footage, only 20 seconds worth. Here's how his brother described it to NBC News.
And what did you see?
Execution.
Execution?
Yes.
Describe it.
It's horrific. You know, you see a person trying to get away and the cops shooting at them. You know, and that's not right.
Wow. Erica, what did you make of that?
I'm just so sick of seeing black people being shot in the middle of the street, judge, jury, executioner, and then we have trauma porn, like black trauma porn. I can't watch any more black trauma. Like I can't even watch sad stories with black people in them anymore because I've just completely hit my limit. So to see this family grieving, all this protected pain being exposed and exploited in some circles, it just, I'm at a loss. I'm at a complete loss.
Right. Okay, so to help now, we have a lot of questions, right? And I'm reading some of your questions right now, DBL Nation. So to help answer some of those questions, please welcome Attorney Gerald Griggs, who is a civil rights attorney. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us despite these awful circumstances. What is the holdup with releasing the body cam footage, and why did this judge just refuse to release it?
Well, North Carolina has specialized laws with regard to body cams, and they don't consider them public records, so you have to go through a process to have them released. That's why they had to petition the judge, and the judge made the decision that it's not in the best interest of the investigation to release it. And they said that probably release in 30 to 45 days at the conclusion of the investigation.
Attorney Griggs, thank you for being with us and clarifying that, because I know there's a lot of misinformation out there. So what will it take for the public to see for themselves what actually happened to Andrew Brown Jr., and how important is it that they do?
It's very important. This is why we have body cams, for transparency. And I think what's going to happen is pressure on the legislature to change the law, and pressure from the activists to get transparency, because we really need to know what happened to Mr. Brown. We need all sides of the story to be told to the public so they can have confidence in this investigation. So that's why I believe it's going to take changing law. I believe that there's a bill now in the North Carolina House that would change the law, but we need transparency and accountability, and that starts with releasing the video.
Thank you for being here. In this heightened time, I think people want answers, right? I look at Erica, I see her frustration. Just living every day, I see the frustration. How important is it, though, for the sheriff's department, before they put this video out, to make sure that everything is correct and they have all the information they need before they put it out?
I think to do a thorough and compelling investigation, they do need to interview all the witnesses and make sure they cross all their T's and dot all their I's. But currently, there's distrust with law enforcement. And the purpose of a body cam is not only to protect the citizen, but to protect law enforcement. So I think for transparency's sake, it's time to release the body cam so that everyone can get a clear picture, that emotions can come down a little bit and we can analyze what actually happened. So that's why I think it's important, not only for the citizens, but also for law enforcement, that this tape is released. You've had sufficient time to investigate. I do understand the judge's consideration in this case, but given the heightened awareness of what's happening, of course, what happened in Minnesota, what's happening around the country, it's time for more transparency. There need to be release of body cams timely. I believe 48 to 72 hours after an incident. You can secure your witness statements, but you can also have transparency in the process.
Amen. Well said. Well said, Attorney Griggs. Thank you so much for joining us here in DBL and helping us better understand what's going on with this case. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
As most of the country eyes a return to normalcy after the COVID-19 pandemic, one change will be sticking around: virtual learning, at least for some students. Let's connect the dots. When coronavirus hit, the U.S. launched an unprecedented effort to teach all students remotely. The experiment was a struggle for many families and their students, but some kids did actually thrive. Teachers report the kids who did well tended to be the ones with social anxiety, attention deficit disorder, or autism. Now school districts across the country are establishing online-only schools for the next academic year. For most districts, this means standalone virtual schools with teachers dedicated to working only with remote students. But not all virtual schools are the same. Some require students to work online courses independently, with only occasional online interaction with a teacher. That model obviously benefits children who are comfortable setting their own pace. It also tends to work best if parents are actively involved in the process. Other models are more teacher-directed, where students attend traditional classes just in a virtual setting. There is one big downside to continued virtual learning: less social interaction. While some online programs do include extracurricular activities, experts say it is hard to replicate the seeing your friends face-to-face. Connecting the dots, I'm Cheryl Mercedes, KHOU 11 News.
Welcome back to DBL. We've got some viral videos to share, and it seems like it might even be a trend. Massive brawls say it isn't so that have broken out in public. And a quick warning to our viewers, some of these videos you're about to see are graphic. So up first, check out this massive brawl at the Miami International Airport. The passengers were waiting on their flight to Chicago when this fight broke out. It reportedly started after they were told that there were only 3 standby seats available for their party of 4. One person was charged with disorderly conduct. Okay, let's go to the next one. There was also this fight that broke out at a seafood restaurant in Mississippi. It started out small before it turned more violent, with silverware, napkin dispensers, and even chairs being thrown. It's not entirely clear what started the fight. So why are we seeing more and more of these massive brawl videos? Let's bring in Al from home. Hey, Al, so you just saw those 2 videos. Is it because people are just filming more, or is there just a lot of tension and stress, and so therefore we're seeing more manifestations of it?
First of all, Sam, for anybody that this is their first time watching DBL, I'm not the fight consultant that you guys bring in. I'm a part of the show. Al, you've had many drunken bar brawls. What do you think?
No, you're not.
Honestly, when it comes to the airport, I've been doing stand-up professionally for 14 years, and that is tension with people scared to fly, and also the airport bar. A lot of people are drunk on flights. They're drunk when they land. They're drunk when they take off, and that's why we see flight attendants getting assaulted, gate agents being assaulted, and ultimately passengers that are frustrated fighting. So I think a lot of these things are alcohol-based. Also, videos are everywhere, and people are stressed out. I mean, we can't act like we're not going to have any fallout from us being basically cooped up for a year and a half.
Erica, you
I agree with that
the whole time.
No,
Like
I totally agree. I think that, not that people weren't crazy before, and I say crazy not as a diagnosis. I'm saying crazy because you have lost your mind. If you are just in the airport of all places fighting, like you clearly don't want to go anywhere for a while. But I do think that people had lost it before, and now because of everything, being cooped up and all of that. But let's not get it twisted. People are out to fight. Some people are just fight people. They think every day is Fight Club. They are looking for somebody to look at them the wrong way in just the right moment so that they can snap and then blame it on them. I personally have a protocol for fights because I know it's going to happen at some point. So my husband and I almost got broke up because of brawls, 2 of them.
What?
Yes. Well, when we were dating, because apparently in Canada, you go towards the fight to see what's happening. And I'm from Chicago, and we don't go towards the fight. We go the opposite direction. And if you're going to stay there, then now we have officially severed ties because I am out the door and at home, and you can have anything you want to have happen so you can see what's happening in this fight. You got to go out the door. If a fight's happening this way, I'm going that way.
Is that you too, being from Chicago? You run out the door?
Nowadays, yeah.
I'm going the other way.
Nowadays, I'm going the other way.
The old Jeff. What would old Jeff do?
I'm going to peek my head around the corner and see what's going on.
I don't do it. I don't do it.
All right, coming up on DBL, the divorce between Robert De Niro and his wife. It's getting nasty. You won't believe how much money he says she spends a month. And cool moms make the world go round. We'll tell you how many Americans think they have a fun mom coming up next.
How's she doing?
Better than that.
There are many situations where fully vaccinated people do not need to wear a mask.
A big announcement from Rochelle Walensky, the director of the CDC, about what people can now do outside without these masks. So let's verify what you can and can't do once you're fully vaccinated, which is 2 weeks after your final shot. Let's start with outdoor exercise. Whether you're vaccinated or not, the CDC says it's okay to run, walk, or bike without a mask. But if you're still awaiting that shot, you're going to want to keep your distance. Okay, what about small outdoor gatherings, like barbecues? Well, according to the CDC, if you're fully vaccinated, you won't need a mask, whether people there are vaccinated or not. Meanwhile, unvaccinated people will need to mask up when around other unvaccinated people outside of their circle. Now let's move on to my favorite thing, food and outdoor dining. The CDC says those who are vaccinated are now safe to take off that mask when eating at an outdoor restaurant. As for unvaccinated people, the CDC is still not recommending that they eat outdoors at restaurants, although they say to wear a mask if they do. And what about the larger outdoor events, like sports games or concerts? Under their new guidance, the CDC says that these events are safe for vaccinated people, although they'll still need to wear a mask. These outdoor events are not deemed safe for those who are still awaiting a shot. As for indoor events, the guidance remains the same. Wear these masks even if you're vaccinated.
I'm dancing like I'm a cool mom. Welcome back to DBL. If you think your mom is cool, you're in good company. 70% of Americans say they have a cool mom. The new survey from one poll also breaks down the reasons why we think mom is the coolest. So more than half surveyed said it's because mom is open about everything, has great taste, gives good gifts, and lets us get away with things as kids. Okay. So here's the thing. When you really looked at that survey, it said there's the mom that lets you get away with things, okay? And then the other section, which I agree with, is the mom that you feel, it doesn't mean she's lenient. It just means that you feel comfortable talking to her.
What kind of mom are you, Sam?
I think I'm a fun mom, but even though I want to be a cool mom, I just want to be a good mom. I don't want to be Sophie's best friend. I do hope that she will feel comfortable enough talking to me about anything and everything and under the sun, but sorry, I'm strict. I'm a little bit strict.
Are you?
I am.
What do you? Okay, I'm gonna shame some moms here. Okay, I know nobody likes that. Ooh, clip it. Ready? Instagram clip. Here we go. If you have a young daughter that's of drinking age, maybe 21, and you go out drinking with her and you're looking at the same guys, that's embarrassing.
I agree.
Okay, I'm shaming it. I'm shaming that mom right there. Go ahead, give that. You can't agree with that, Erica.
I don't agree with that.
What? I can agree or disagree with whatever I want to agree or disagree with.
Do you think that's cool if like you're going after the same guy with your mom and getting drunk?
I don't know what. Let people live, okay? Let them live. If
let
they're
them
adults, I can see if she was 16. I'm sorry, I don't care.
I don't mind going out with your daughter and having a fun afternoon drinking, but when you're like your best friend is your mom and you're going to the clubs and getting drunk together and going after the same guys.
If they're adults.
I'm gonna tell you, I've seen that a lot. I've seen that a lot, and it's a way for you to steal attention from your daughter. That has nothing to do with the mother-daughter relationship. That has to do with jealousy. I will say this: I think this is a generational study, and I'll tell you why. I think our mothers and the mothers coming before that were able to adapt a little bit easier. I'm looking at my mom and my dad. Like my mom was eating sushi in the 80s. She was making quinoa before y'all even knew what that was. And so like my mom adapted. My dad would have never done any of those things. But now I do think we're in the era now where dads are learning how to braid their daughter's hair and do, kind of be an evolving parent where that was never asked of us. So I want to see this in another 10 years. I want to see how this is.
I want to too. And God bless Dr. Jackie, your mom. And I just want to thank Al and Jeff for their input on mother-daughter relationships because I learned so much this segment.
Yeah, don't go on spring break with your daughter. It's disgusting. There you go. Put that at the end of the clip with a little button.
This segment sponsored by mansplaining.
Oh, that's for the comments, Al. Wait, let the comments do that.
Coming up on DBL, Erica's face says it all. Coming up on DBL, the emotional phone call between a golf pro and his father when his PGA dreams come true. You do not want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
For all the parents out there, my advice is this: listen more than you speak. Listen to your kids. Don't be reactive, don't judge, and just love them.
The Supreme Court gearing up for a free speech showdown today. Let's connect the dots. The courts will have to decide how much power public schools have and whether or not they can punish students for a social media post. One argument is that students shouldn't get in trouble for things they post on personal pages during non-school hours. But here's the problem. Some say that would open the door for students to post vulgar, cruel, or even racist things without getting in trouble. We're in new territory here. For decades, Supreme Court cases have supported students' free speech rights, but those decisions were before Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. The outcome of the case could also impact how schools crack down on cyberbullying. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back to DBL. We've got a touching and emotional video to share. Golfer Michael Visacki had his dreams come true. He qualified for his first ever PGA Tour event. So like any good son, he called his dad to tell him the good news. Take a look.
All right.
I made it. Yeah. Yes.
Oh my God. No, all right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. I know. Erica, you're crying. What goes through your head right now? Oh, Erica.
Sorry.
Don't apologize.
When I was cast on DBL, I went to the basement and called my aunt and my husband's aunt, who was with his mother, and neither one of them are here. And it's just, moments like that, you really do think about, like the people who you really want to make that connection with and memorialize that moment with. So that's just that's beautiful that he has that captured,
We love you, Erica. We're here with you. If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube. But if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. Divorce drama for Robert De Niro and his wife. Why it could all boil down to money. Then later in True Crime Chronicles, we're taking you inside a house of horror, masquerading as a place of worship. DBL's new Every Day. We'll be right back.
Is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Thank you, Chris. Welcome back. or welcome to DBL rather. Depends on which market you're in.
That's
Some
right.
people are tuning in for the first time. Other people have been with us for the last half hour, okay? I'm Sam here with Jeff and Erica. Al joins us from home, and a lot of you, before we get started, have been commenting on my shirt. I'm wearing this in solidarity with my sister today, who's going through a double mastectomy. She's been very public about it, so I'm not speaking for her. I even asked her permission to wear this. I slept in it last night. Sorry, and I'm wearing it today because it's a 12 to 15-hour surgery, and I want to be with her in spirit. So, wishing you all the best, Monica.
Yes.
You've got this. You are a warrior. Okay, so Tristan Thompson is being accused of cheating on Khloe Kardashian. That was Al yelling Cavs, because anytime I mention anything about Tristan Thompson or Cleveland or Ohio, he has to blurt out
He doesn't even
Cavs.
play for the Cavs anymore, but he did for the championship team. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Okay,
2016, baby, forever right here.
Al, no one can hear you. The couple who have a 3-year-old daughter together rekindled their romance last summer, but now a woman who is alleging, well, she's saying that she had an affair with Tristan. During a podcast, Instagram model Sydney Chase admitted she hung out with Tristan in January while he was dating Khloe. She recently went on TikTok to confirm that the rumors of an affair were true. Watch.
We did have past relations. I then found out that he was in a relationship, and I ended things. We first met November 11th to be exact, and that's when everything started. And then the last time we had contact, besides when he messaged me after finding out about the interview, it was the day after his daughter's birthday party.
True's birthday was just 2 weeks ago, so Tristan and Khloe haven't said anything about the scandal, but last night Khloe posted a quote on Instagram that said, quote, "People who don't hesitate to share a kind word or do a good deed to brighten up someone else's day are the best kind of people." Ooh, since Al, you had a lot to say about them Cavs, let's start with you. What do you think of this latest cheating scandal? I just immediately think of a family, right? Like here we're talking about it, but a family and a child is having to deal with that in real time at home.
And before I get started, I just want to say I'm not defending Tristan Thompson here. I'm just saying, in terms of his mentality, it seems like a young man, a man at this point that can't decide whether he wants to be a family man or be an entertainer that lives in entertainers' lives. And the worst thing you can do is try and do both, because you're just going to end up continually damaging not only a person that you love or once loved in the mother of your daughter, but your daughter herself as she grows older and learns about her dad's indiscretions. What he's doing, even though he's trying to sneak around, he's not doing it well. And because of that, he's going to cause permanent damage to the mother of his child and his daughter. And I think it's reprehensible. He needs to just cut the bridge and just live the life that he wants to live if these accusations are true.
Erica, what?
No, I think Al has a point. I also think that the truth is, for some people, infidelity is not a deal breaker. And if that's your relationship, that's your relationship. I do question this woman who's come out with these claims, not because it's her fault, because she's not in a relationship with Khloe, but if the intention behind coming out is to say that you didn't know that you were in a relation, or the guy that you were romantic with was in a relationship, doesn't that have to do with the core of the family? So don't you go, if you feel like it's necessary information, to the family, to the woman, and say, listen, I just want to say I did not know this happened. Do what you may. I am not in this situation, but I felt like it was on my heart. I wanted to tell you. But
Erica, you don't get followers by doing that. You don't get
that's
followers.
What I'm saying. Is this a clout chase? That's all I'm asking. I'm not saying it's her fault that she was in a relationship with him. But I am asking, what's the point of bringing it to the public if it's not to further embarrass this Khloe in this situation?
Why does she have her posse with her? What's that all about?
That was my only thing I was going to say. Who are those two girls? It looked like a Saturday Night Live skit. And if she goes
Saturday Night Live this weekend.
Wait, I mean, just first of all,
Mary Carey, who is that?
Who's even listening to what she's saying?
It was the one girl on the left keeps fading like Casper.
What do you mean?
She keeps going in and out like she's a ghost. Look at the one on the left.
Oh, maybe they're on a green screen or something. There is. They have like some. Oh, yeah.
Is her hair green?
You know, it'd be great if they went on like the Today Show to talk about it, and she brought them two with her. They just stood in the back.
Hey. Interesting.
All right, anyways.
Please write in DBL Nation. We want to hear from you. Okay, so Robert De Niro is in the middle of a bitter divorce battle with his ex, Grace Hightower. The former couple filed for divorce back in 2018, but the actor has continued to support her until their prenup kicks in. His lawyer says De Niro can't keep up with her spending and cut her monthly credit card limit from $375,000, whoa, to just $100,000. But Grace says that's unfair. She should be able to live the lifestyle she had during their marriage. De Niro's lawyer says the actor took roles in movies like Dirty Grandpa to pay for that lifestyle. He also owes more than $6 million in taxes and will use the money from his next 2 movies to pay that off. It just goes to show, like, doesn't matter how much wealth you have. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you broke.
Yeah. Because someone's spending $375,000 a month. That's insane. That's insane. She bought a $1.2 million diamond. Robert De Niro shouldn't have to pay for that. What do you mean I'm accustomed to this? That's ridiculous.
I agree. That's taking advantage, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's his fault, too. I liked this couple. I was very sad to see them part ways. Maybe it's something sentimental. Yes, I was. I remember talking about it. I was very sad.
She seems really torn up, too.
I'm just saying that at this point, nobody can afford to live up to the standard of living of what was happening in the marriage if you owe the IRS $6 million. However, it's not a take advantage situation. You better take control situation. If you're going to be in a union, a partnership, a financial contract with somebody, be very transparent about what the expectation is. That is not too much to ask. And the more money that is involved, the more risk there truly is, because there's more to lose. How are you going to say, this is how much you're going to spend on a credit card when the IRS is like, where's my $6 million? If you have to do 2 more projects in order to take care of past tax debt, you ain't got no money.
Yeah.
So why is this even a thing?
Wait, no, Erica. What we are seeing here is somebody using the court system, laws that were put in place for a good reason, because there was a period of time where women did not work and mostly raised the children, and if they were a victim of divorce or were in a divorce, they really did not have the money to support themselves. Those laws are there for a reason. We are talking about somebody, and I read this article, that was upset that I believe she also has an allowance as well as the credit cards that was like $100,000 or $200,000 a month. This is a person that is consuming without joy, just buying things constantly.
You don't know
and
that.
It does seem like he was responsible and Erica, could you even figure out what to spend $300,000 a month on?
It's not about you and Jeff keep getting caught up on the amount of money. $375,000. Yeah, but here's the thing. It could be $37 for somebody. Let's take them out of the equation and just put it out there. You need to stop selling a dream that you cannot maintain. And if you are going to be recipient of said dream, then if this dream cannot be maintained together, then you need to be able to let the dream go too. So all these people who think that their house is the mint, money is not printed at your home. So figure out what you're going to do until your days are over. Otherwise, you're just leaving a major tax burden and a lot of debt to your children.
That's crazy.
So we'll just be mad at Robert De Niro for being successful, and we'll just encourage this woman to spend the GDP of Guatemala every month because she's still trying to live this dream.
We can have this conversation, but I know you know what I mean when I'm telling you.
Text me right now. Text me during the commercial.
Sell the dream. Stop selling a dream. You clearly ain't got it.
He did until she took it.
Enough. We gotta go. Coming up on DBL, a really tragic story coming up. A house of prayer, more like a house of horror. The disturbing truth behind a facility founded on faith. Next in True Crime Chronicles. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
As most of the country eyes a return to normalcy after the COVID-19 pandemic, one change will be sticking around: virtual learning, at least for some students. Let's connect the dots. When coronavirus hit, the U.S. launched an unprecedented effort to teach all students remotely. The experiment was a struggle for many families and their students, but some kids did actually thrive. Teachers report the kids who did well tended to be the ones with social anxiety, attention deficit disorder, or autism. Now school districts across the country are establishing online-only schools for the next academic year. For most districts, this means standalone virtual schools with teachers dedicated to working only with remote students. But not all virtual schools are the same. Some require students to work online courses independently, with only occasional online interaction with a teacher. That model obviously benefits children who are comfortable setting their own pace. It also tends to work best if parents are actively involved in the process. Other models are more teacher-directed, where students attend traditional classes just in a virtual setting. There is one big downside to continued virtual learning: less social interaction. While some online programs do include extracurricular activities, experts say it is hard to replicate the seeing your friends face-to-face. Connecting the dots, I'm Cheryl Mercedes, KHOU 11 News.
Welcome back to DBL. In the 80s, Anna Young ran the House of Prayer. Few people knew what was actually happening behind closed doors. Decades later, we're learning the grim reality of the truth. Here's the horrific story in True Crime Chronicles. Some of the content may be disturbing.
Anna Young had a hard life growing up. She used her faith as motivation to keep going. In 1983, she started the House of Prayer near Gainesville, Florida.
The House of Prayer started out as supposed to be a safe haven.
It was a place for kids and women to go who needed a place to get back on their feet. Mother Anna recruited more than 20 members over a decade.
As people started idolizing or other broken people, people began to look at you as the voice of God.
Joy remembers her mother torturing members for their sins.
They're willing to lay down and take beatings and whippings and starvations and be in boxes and eat cow manure and everything because they love God so much. They just want to be pure and holy.
Court documents revealed 2-year-old Katonia Jackson was forced to run in circles and was beaten if she stopped. She ended up dying from a seizure. Shortly after, her 8-year-old brother, John Neal, ended up in the hospital for a severe skin infection, and doctors noticed similarities between him and his sister. It finally prompted an investigation into the House of Prayer.
When they would go in, they would see a very clean property, a very clean house, very orderly, very organized.
Anna was smart. She left no evidence behind.
Miss Anna had trapdoors, secret rooms, so she was able to hide children and to mask the goings-on there.
In 1986, another child arrived named Eamon Harper.
His lips were so crusted over that part of his lip, like the crust, touched my finger. Like, I've given him the water, and sometimes, thinking about it, I still feel it. I feel it.
Eamon was later found dead in a closet. It wasn't until 1992 Anna was caught, when a 12-year-old member was found in a tub with chemicals and severe burns. Anna was charged with child abuse and fled. After being on the run for years, she was caught in 2001. Anna served some prison time, but was released and free again. Joy held onto those gut-wrenching memories for decades. But the day her mother criticized her for parenting,
I blurted out, "How can you tell me how to raise my kids when you killed 2 children?"
In 2017, Joy went to police and told them everything. There was enough evidence to charge Anna for the murders of Eamon Harper and Katonia Jackson.
If it wouldn't have been for Joy calling and having these memories and telling us about it, this would have gone unnoticed, unpunished.
Anna was sentenced to 30 years for the 2 murders, but 42 days later, she died in prison. A twist in the case, but finally some closure for Joy and the victims.
What I'm not going to do, though, is lie about, the lives that were lost during the process of, all of this journey, because I feel like if I live with those, then I'm just as guilty.
Horrible. Earlier, Tori and Brandon spoke with a reporter close to the case. Take a look. We are joined by First Coast News reporter Jocelyn Howard. Jocelyn, thank you so much for being here. Anna Young was an ex-cult leader who tortured and starved her members. Her daughter Joy witnessed it for years and finally turned her in. I just want to know, how did she work up the courage to finally do that?
Joy was very young, and she grew up just like a lot of these members, idolizing her mom, thinking that her mom was the voice of God. And she even went as far to say that she one day wanted to be like her mom, that matriarch of the House of Prayer. Then she got out into the real world and realized that what she saw was wrong. She saw the terrible things that her mother did, but on the other hand, she loves her mom. She made that very clear in our interview. She does love her mom. Wow. And she was going through that issue in her heart and her body of, do I turn my mom in? This is what really stuck to me in our interview. Her exact words were, how can you tell me how to raise my kids when you killed 2 children? Ooh. And that sent chills through my body. And she said, from there, I just needed to call law enforcement.
You just mentioned how you did speak with Joy, and did she ever tell you why she thinks her mother did all this?
Starting the House of Prayer and moving down to Florida was her mother's way of kind of dealing with her sins and trying to redeem herself. And so I don't think really cults always start out as, I'm going to start a cult. Right. It started out with great intentions. The House of Prayer started out as a safe haven for people, especially people who couldn't afford where they lived, couldn't afford food, couldn't afford childcare, and they brought these people onto the property. And it was a really great thing. I mean, they were feeding these people, and at the same time, though, Anna was feeding them the gospel as well. And these people started looking at her as, wow, what a holy woman.
The story spans decades. It's a really long case. Do you think, just in your heart, more victims will come forward?
You never know. You never know. And I mean, I actually have had some people reach out to me about this after my story came out that weren't necessarily a part of the House of Prayer, but they knew Anna before the House of Prayer. And they were telling me how she was before the House of Prayer. And so, I mean, this wasn't just the House of Prayer, this was Anna Young. Maybe some people will come forward, but I think law enforcement has a pretty good grasp right now on who all was there.
I'm fascinated to learn more about this case. If you are too, visit firstcoastnews.com. The story is also the subject of a new podcast episode. Just search True Crime Chronicles on your favorite podcast player. Jocelyn, great job on this story. What a hard story to follow. Thank you for all your work. And Anna Young's official cause of death has just been released. She died from COVID-19 complications. We'll be right back.
We all know.
There are many situations where fully vaccinated people do not need to wear a mask.
A big announcement from Rochelle Walensky, the director of the CDC, about what people can now do outside without these masks. So let's verify what you can and can't do once you're fully vaccinated, which is 2 weeks after your final shot. Let's start with outdoor exercise. Whether you're vaccinated or not, the CDC says it's okay to run, walk, or bike without a mask. But if you're still awaiting that shot, you're going to want to keep your distance. Okay, what about small outdoor gatherings, like barbecues? Well, according to the CDC, if you're fully vaccinated, you won't need a mask, whether people there are vaccinated or not. Meanwhile, unvaccinated people will need to mask up when around other unvaccinated people outside of their circle. Now let's move on to my favorite thing, food and outdoor dining. The CDC says those who are vaccinated are now safe to take off that mask when eating at an outdoor restaurant. As for unvaccinated people, the CDC is still not recommending that they eat outdoors at restaurants, although they say to wear a mask if they do. And what about the larger outdoor events like sports games or concerts? Under their new guidance, the CDC says that these events are safe for vaccinated people, although they'll still need to wear a mask. These outdoor events are not deemed safe for those who are still awaiting a shot. As for indoor events, the guidance remains the same. Wear these masks even if you're vaccinated.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for a security alert sponsored by LifeLock. So scammers are continuing to use COVID-19 to steal your data. Here are 3 scams to be aware of. Fake post-vaccine surveys. Look out for any text messages or emails promising cash or a prize for filling out a survey if you've received a vaccine. Second, unemployment insurance. Anyone who has applied for this can be targeted with phony forms asking for your personal information. And lastly, the vaccine selfie. Don't post your card or let your kids or grandkids post their cards on social media unless the birth date and full name are covered. So when it comes to your financial assets, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. Call 1-800-439-9017 or visit lifelock.com to learn more. Wow. Some of them are getting creative, asking you to do some of those face morph things on Facebook. And then when you sign up to do those, it takes your information. And that can be a scam as well. So
I think a lot of people are vaccinated, you know what I mean? And all you have to do is just zoom in on that. All your information's there. So people don't even think about it sometimes.
The worst type of person to capitalize on vulnerable people during the pandemic, right? Okay.
Low.
Coming up on DBL, incredible footage of a car exploding on the highway, but miraculously, don't worry, everyone survived. We'll hear from the survivors next.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
For all the parents out there, my advice is this: listen more than you speak. Listen to your kids. Don't be reactive, don't judge, and just love them.
The Supreme Court gearing up for a free speech showdown today. Let's connect the dots. The courts will have to decide how much power public schools have and whether or not they can punish students for a social media post. One argument is that students shouldn't get in trouble for things they post on personal pages during non-school hours. But here's the problem. Some say that would open the door for students to post vulgar, cruel, or even racist things without getting in trouble. We're in new territory here. For decades, Supreme Court cases have supported students' free speech rights, but those decisions were before Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. The outcome of the case could also impact how schools crack down on cyberbullying. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Tomorrow on DBL, former Real Housewife of Orange County castmate Heather Dubrow is joining us live to give DBL Nation a dose of her unfiltered honesty. That's tomorrow right here on DBL.
Oh, friend of the show, Heather, we can't wait to have you back. Welcome back to DBL. You won't believe how lucky some teens are to be alive after their car caught fire in Texas. Another vehicle recorded it, and you see the cart explode. It looks huge and terrifying, and you've got to wonder, how could anyone survive that? Well, here's what the passengers told GMA.
I knew something was wrong, so I stopped, and then we just walked down the hill onto the other side of the road by the church. And then it blew up.
Someone was looking out for them.
Yeah.
Major angels there.
You know what would have made that video better? If we had those two blonde girls on either side of the car. That should be like a new thing. Everyone should talk on Instagram with those two blonde girls superimposed. Make it way more interesting.
Do you want to bet, Al, that they will have a skit, to Jeff's point, on SNL about that this weekend?
Definitely, and Jeff is the only person I've heard mention it. You know what we should do to really kind of get at that girl that's clearly clout chasing? We should interview the two girls in the back and not ever address their friend that was looking for the likes.
There we go.
What do you want to interview them about, Al?
Why are you standing there?
Hand
what
tattoo.
are you doing?
No, but they can't talk. They just have to stand there.
DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place.
That's